Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
It is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio on a Friday. We're just a couple days out from Memorial Day as we say hi and welcome you in. It's a big night, puck drops, and the ball's in the air at the same time, people. So we've got NHL Oilers Stars with the Stars, a big-time comeback in Game 1, up 1-0 in the series. They're at home. They're going to lay $1.15. The total drops from 6.5 down to 6 for Game 2. We're looking at right now Game 2. I guess this is a big game. Maybe somebody could let me know. Hello? Am I shooting into a blank forest here? Is the big guy going to come with some energy today as his Knicks are playing the Pacers in Game 2? It was an eventful game a couple of nights ago on a Wednesday night. We've had a little bit of, we can call him a bluegill, we can call him a bass, we can call him whatever fish you'd like because he's been flipping and flopping with the series. That's Dustin Swedelson, people. As I say hi, I'm Patrick Meagher. We call him the Trout. Dustin Swedelson, because, he said that he liked the Pacers, and then he slept on it, talked to his girlfriend, came back the other day, he said, I can't go out like this. I'm on the Knicks in 7. And then the Pacers, with an unprecedented comeback over the final couple minutes into overtime, the big guy came back and said, my initial read on the Pacers was the right one. So I'm going to go ahead and bluegill back to that one. I mean, it's just a sunfish because he's always in a good mood. Isaiah Ramirez in New York City. We've got our buddy Ryan Smith in Las Vegas. If you'd like to join us, there's a tight shot for me, Ryan. Thank you very much. That looks good with the Zoom. Oh, goodness. This is a face for radio, people. You can find us on youtube.com/VSiN Live. So you just got hammered over the first 4 minutes of the program. Would you like to defend yourself on the Knicks? Because you need to defend the fort. It's not about Ben Stiller. It's not about Timothy Chalamet. It is not about Kendall Jenner. It is not about Spike Lee. It is about a great name, too. Dustin Swedelson.
Oh, yeah.
Need to stand up for the Knicks. Go, New York, go. This is a big game tonight.
Oh, it is, and they're going to show up, just like they showed up for 90% of Game 1 and dominated all of that. They're going to do the same thing again. There's no reason for the Knicks to change the entire game plan here. They were set to win. The problem is they just didn't handle the late game situation properly. That will be buttoned up here. They've been called out. They can't be on their heels anymore. They realize they're taking on a dangerous Indiana team that's able to come back late, similar to what they did in previous series against the Celtics and the Pistons. But the reality is the Indiana Pacers do not have an answer for what the Knicks want to do. And it all centers around the zesty one in the middle, Karl Anthony Towns. This is going to go down in history. Mark the tape, as Adam Shine says, as the Karl Anthony Towns game. They're going to feed him over and over again, and he's going to dominate the Pacers. And that's how we'll remember this entire series shifting with the Knicks taking Game 2 and never looking back.
All right, so starting the program with lies. He literally hates Karl Anthony Towns as a basketball player, decided to zig while everybody zags. That's Dustin Swedelson. Take a look at the number. Remember, you can get your betting needs. I'll come back to you on that one. That was a weird take. Get your betting needs over at VSiN.com/subscribe. $19, sign up, get the picks tonight. We've got props, we've got totals, we've got sides. And Dustin, the side right now is 6.5. So remember, this could close 2 points more the Knicks' way than it did in Game 1. So the expectation is a big-time bounce back. We're going to go back to Indianapolis on Sunday for Game 3, tied up at 1s, because that's the number, 6.5. A lot of confidence in the Knicks.
Yeah, look, I love the Knicks winning tonight, but good luck laying that 6.5. That feels like a big number. What I do love, and it was up at VSiN.com/picks last night, I went under on the total. It was 226 at that point. It's now 220. I think the reality with that is Knicks realize they can't run with Indiana. And late in that game, they got super sloppy with the basketball. Brunson looked exhausted. I think in order to maintain their composure, they need to be careful with how hard they try to run with Indiana early. I think they slow up a lot of these possessions. That's why I think the under is the best play there.
I'm gonna let the audience in on a fun game coming up in just a bit, and that is Dustin losing his mind because your internet was freezing there while you were talking.
I'm gonna go on.
This is hold on, we'll get to it. You can blow your top in a second. A couple of things you said I like there. One, this is for new bettors. When there is a crazy game where combined you had more points scored between the Pacers and Knicks in game one than we've seen in decades, you go the other way. You expect defense to play better. There's going to be an inflated total, 226, as Dustin mentioned, down to 224.5. So the market is pushing it back down. The expectation should not be 270 plus points between these two in game two. Totally agree with you there. The Brunson take and 8-8 Mad Dog 6. I want to get your predictions in. Again, we do have about 53 minutes until game two, but let's get involved. 888-623-3646. You can pull up, if you don't mind, the series price for me as far as the adjustment as well. We can get predictions on the series because I want to get back to Brunson. The way I look at it right now, we've got two series that matter amongst hockey and basketball. Of course, we've got Knicks Pacers, and we've got Oilers Stars coming up later. The Florida Panthers and Carolina Hurricanes is not a series, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, which we will get to, and the Minnesota Timberwolves is ... not a series moving forward. And if anybody comes on here, and this is for the people that come on and talk like I created the association, Jonathan Fontobel, that's you. People that don't respect Dustin and I just kicking it about basketball. We go to sleep and know more about basketball than you donks. Let me explain something to you. If you think Minnesota's going to, quote, get back into this series, you've lost your mind. Do you watch hoops? Have you seen Oklahoma City play? Did you watch the surgical precision last night with which they tore apart that overinflated? And that's partly on us because we tried to make the case a couple of nights ago. Minnesota Timberwolves team. Now back to Jalen Brunson. He's gassed. He has been doing a lot for this team for a year plus, Dustin. The postseason last year, I don't even know. He must have slept like a bear in hibernation after the Indiana series wrapped up last year because he did everything. And when you are hunted by the other team, like Brunson is constantly hunted, and you have to work just to get around screens while dribbling. And you noticed in game one, what was Brunson doing? He was walking the ball up the court. Every attempt with the ball, he was falling into defenders because he was trying to draw contact. That is the sign of a tired basketball player. So we shall see. Maybe he had a Celsius 5-hour energy, or whatever the kids are taking these days. Maybe he popped one of those before the game tonight because they're going to need everything and more. And again, empty calories, empty points. The 43 out of Brunson was insignificant in game one. He was not a good basketball player, and we expect more from him.
Totally agree. And really careless with the basketball, things we don't really see from him, especially in clutch moments. He's the clutch player of the year for a reason. That's why I think Cat number one, that is the key to victory for the Knicks. The second key, someone other than Cat and Brunson needs to step up. And I went back through the playoff, through the game logs, my algorithm that I look at when it comes to punching the numbers for player props. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges both perform better offensively coming off a loss. OG off a loss this postseason run, 22, 22, 20, and 23 points. Bridges off a loss, 20, 25, 23, and 22. I think one of those, if not both of them, are more dialed in, more involved offensively, because that also helps the Knicks conserve Brunson's energy for the fourth quarter. I think there will be an effort very early on to make sure Bridges or Anunoby get going scoring.
All right. I like that. The algorithm, a.k.a. Google search.
Yeah.
Very good. I do that too. I've done that. I heard about it. You have to get ancillary points. And again, Karl Anthony Towns is a box score warrior. His numbers were great from game one. When it mattered, he missed the important free throw. That's what matters.
Yeah. But to your point about the ancillary pieces, the Pacers are just littered with guys who can fill it up. If one of their fourth, fifth, sixth options doesn't step up, there's someone else to fill in for them. Naismith was the guy in game one, but Nembhard's capable of going off. McConnell's been a nightmare for the Knicks in the past. Mathurin off the bench is nice. And Obi Toppin had some very clutch plays to make sure Indiana walked away with a victory in game one. They're so much deeper. And if the Knicks aren't going to play more guys off the bench, although I do expect more Deuce McBride minutes, he fits what they want to do, wanting to run and gun a little bit here. I do think the other starters, other than Brunson and other than Cat, need to add 20-plus points tonight.
The Obi Toppin part is interesting and ironic because the Knicks feel like they could use some energy, and Toppin is the ultimate energy guy. And if they had only drafted him, so Obi Toppin, obviously in overtime, had a big play with the dunk. He was fouled, didn't get called. So I would agree with you. I like the Pacers tonight. I like the Pacers to win outright. I'm not pretending that I need the points. What's the number as far as the money line? I'm getting plus $2. I'm guessing somewhere.
Yeah, first. Yeah, let me give you
Yeah,
that series. Let me give you the series price first. Indiana's minus 165. Knicks are plus 140 to win the series. Current number just moved again. It's back up to 6.5. Knicks are laying 6.5. Money line minus 258 on the Knicks, plus 210 on the Pacers, which is juicy. And remember, Indiana came out first like 6-7 minutes of game one. They shot lights out. They're not intimidated by Madison Square Garden. They've been there before. They've won. Plus 210. Indiana jumped out to a big lead to start things. You can come back and get plus, 150, 160 the other way in the Knicks and have a rocking chair.
Yeah, I was hoping to get $2. You can get plus 210. So $100 brings you back $210 on the Pacers if you need it. And if I do win the $210, I'm going to give you $10 to buy some more internet because you just froze again.
I know.
Do you want to go ahead and you want to go ahead and scream? Do you want to yell? Do you want to let people know what's going through your mind? Let's have a therapy session. Let's go.
I mean, I was dealing with Cox all day long, left and right. Cox here, Cox there, Cox cable. I'm talking about. But I was on the phone with them all day. They sent me new equipment. We doubled the internet powerage. We went from 1 gig to 2 gigs. I don't know what's bigger, a megabyte or a gigabyte, but they're telling me it's the biggest package they offer. And it's still not working when I need it to work.
So you got the biggest package from Cox. You might want to go smaller because I think.
Well, apparently it's not about the size of the modem. It's how you use it.
Well, yep. You got it, buddy. 888-623-3646. I'm too old. I used to play into your game. I just don't want to do it anymore. It kind of bores me.
Hey, it's unfortunate because your name's associated with it.
Yeah, I got you. Wolves in an 0-2 hole. Let's go back to last night. I don't know if you have an announcement here, but the Timberwolves are searching for answers at 118-103. It really wasn't that close. Edwards, here's the problem, Dustin. If Edwards is going to give you 32, going to be more aggressive, 9 boards, 6 assists, and you still get beat by 15, where Gilgeous-Alexander, I know people like to say he goes to the free throw line too much, he's overrated. He's giving you 40 every night. He just gave you 38 again with a team that can score. Williams gave you 26. Holmgren gave you 22. This team, obviously Caruso with the defense off the bench, Wallace with 8 off the bench, Dort gave you something, Hartenstein gave you something. This team is incredible, and we should get a number on a sweep because I think they go back and finish it up in Minnesota. What's the path for Minnesota winning a game here? Unless Oklahoma City just takes their foot off the gas. They're a much better basketball team, and that's really not in question at this point.
The Thunder to sweep the Minnesota Timberwolves is plus 160. That is such a short number. That is such a short number. But the number's correct. This is a safe space we've established. We're allowed to just say things that come to our mind to get them out of our system. I am going to do something I've never done in the history of this show, of my life, of our friendship. I was wrong. I was completely dead wrong about the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is not a good team. This is not a great team. This is one of the great all-time put-together friends we have ever seen. And what they are doing is completely sustainable, not just right now, but for years to come. SGA is such a go-to clutch superstar that has ice water in his veins, unafraid of the moment. And the way they've built this roster up around him with the length of Holmgren, Williams' ability to score from everywhere, the depth, the defense, the way they push the pace coming off of turnovers, and they turn you over often. This Oklahoma City team, I was completely wrong. I thought someone would get in their way and knock them off. They are an all-time great elite team, and it's not how they're going to win titles, it's how many they're going to win. They're going to win not 1, not 2, maybe 3, 4, or 5. It is a perfect roster.
Yeah, we set it up the other day. 2.5 titles. They're going to get one this year over the next 6 seasons. So, at this point, we'd go 5 seasons after they win one this year. Before the conference finals started, you could bet Oklahoma City to win a championship at minus like a buck 25. With the way the East is shaping up. Now, again, the Pacers are our only hope to have a good finals, but the way the East is shaping up, the Thunder are just going to roll. Obviously, Minnesota is so not ready for prime time. Watching that game last night, something's just off. I know people jock this Finch guy. He ain't got it. The head coach. I don't know what he's doing. The adjustments weren't made. Anthony Edwards, okay. That kind of felt like Brunson in game one last night, where it felt a little empty, though he's an awesome basketball player. I'm not pretending like he's not. It's just you've got a team in Minnesota and you've got a freaking juggernaut in Oklahoma City, and it's just a mismatch. That's it.
Yeah, look, Minnesota's a good team, and Oklahoma City's making them look like they're a bad team. Like, that's the problem. Yeah. In the regular season, even in the playoffs, we've had moments where we're like, you know what? Minnesota's probably a top 4, top 5 team in the NBA. Like, that's how good they are. That's how good Oklahoma City is. They're making them look average to below average right now. But Minnesota has a lot of issues. I mean, Rudy Gobert, he brings a lot defensively, but when he's on the floor, the other team knows they only have to defend 4 guys. That's a big issue when that guy takes up as much cap as he does. Then outside of Anthony Edwards, who's creating shots, who's generating offense on their own? The rest of them just want to stand and shoot and wait for the ball. That puts more pressure on Edwards. And in a situation where you're taking on a team like Oklahoma City that's so good at protecting the paint and protecting the rim, the opportunities for Anthony Edwards to create and get to the basket just aren't there. So now you're relying on all these other guys to find ways to get open looks, and they're just not capable.
No, they're not capable, and they are a tremendous basketball team. Again, we get caught.
They're good.
Prisoner of the moment as far as calling teams great and announcing that series are over. Look, we get paid to give our opinion. That's just where we stand. For me, I've got the Pacers still in 5. I do think the Knicks have enough to get one in the series. I'd be surprised if Minnesota got one, but that's where we stand. Now, as far as the big picture on the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think you just have to start with defense, because you can't be considered a great basketball team. And as we're saying, one of the better that we've seen in a long time, you can't be considered that unless you're elite defensively. And Oklahoma City it's kind of hard to really conceptualize what they do defensively, because they're so young, they're so long, they're so willing to help. They get back on their spots so just easily and with such effort. They're so well coached. They've got the 2 bigs essentially using Holmgren as a roamer who can just float around and disrupt. So he's always in the back of your mind. They've got a legit big in Hartenstein to throw at you. And their best player, and here's the point, their best player is willing and above average at defending. When you get him to buy in, that is why you can't really have a conversation about Halliburton and SGA. When Halliburton wants to stop being zesty on TikTok and get zestier on defense, now he enters the chat as one of the best in the NBA. He's just not there yet. SGA's on business, and he plays both ends of the floor.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me when I was questioning the Thunder was, did they have enough offensively, especially like late in games? But the reality is, one, the late games don't matter because they're usually up by 20. Secondly, they have enough offense because the defense is smothering. The defense right now through 2 games in this series, they've scored 53 points off of turnovers, Oklahoma City, where Minnesota scored just 20. So that's 33 more points just off of turnovers. They use their defense to generate offense. It's a different approach. It's why they're not as reliant on the 3. However, I would add, they can shoot the 3 with the best of them on good nights. But that defense takes you out of your game and puts up points the other way so quickly that it ends up being these massive runs where you look up and all of a sudden it's a 9-0 run for Oklahoma City. Then they have another one late in the game and later in the game. And by the time the 4th quarter comes around, they're playing the whole bench.
Yep. Series predictions. Let's go. Are we jumping the gun on Oklahoma City with how good they are? I think people get upset. They don't. Again, and it's also Oklahoma City. So we have to be very careful. Like if it is Chicago Bulls with this roster, or obviously Boston or Los Angeles or whomever, where the spotlight is on SGA in a different way, and some of these tertiary players are getting the shine they deserve. It's Oklahoma City. Like, we had the gentleman on from the Oklahoman or the Tulsa Report or whatever the other day who's been covering Oklahoma sports for 40 plus years. And he's just like, well, it's a humdinger. That's wild, this little basketball team. Like, he's like, this is not exactly a big market. So I don't know if we get the attention. I don't know if SGA and others get the attention that they deserve. Not on prime time like they should be because it's Oklahoma City, but they're that good. That's my simply my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're going to win one. By the way, I would never normally say this out loud, but they're minus 310 to win a title. It's a value because neither team from the East is going to beat them unless SGA gets injured. Like that is the only thing standing in the way of you cashing that ticket is SGA goes down because Indiana doesn't stand a chance with the way they play defense. The Knicks don't have enough offense. They're not as balanced as Oklahoma City is. Minus 310, I would never suggest anyone laying that big of a number, but the reality is that ticket will win if you're looking for a winner.
It's bad faith to make a bet on if this player gets injured. But that's what you would have to be banking on, SGA. And by the way, if SGA went down, I think they can still win a championship.
No, I thought about taking the Thunder minus 310 and parlaying it with Shohei Ohtani NL MVP at like minus 110. But then I got to wait till the end of the baseball season to collect that money.
Yeah, I hear you. So I started by calling you the flip-flopper because you did it with the Pacers and Knicks, and now you quietly have done it with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was quick. That was precise. You got in there, you took your lumps, and now you're over here pretending like you own the franchise.
I mean, do you know who would be proud of me?
Cheerleader ever.
Yeah, do you know who would be proud of me for this moment?
Who's that?
Robin, my therapist. Finally admitting I'm wrong about something. I tell her she's wrong all the time, and she's got like 3 degrees.
Yeah, I'm sure she likes you. She, like I always say to Dustin, before and after, like when he enters the office and he leaves the office, his therapist, whose name is Robin, just think of Jordan in 96 in the finals, bent over, grabbing onto his shorts. Like, she's just like, that was, woo.
Every single Thursday at 11 a.m. is her flu game.
She's just, she calls her husband. She's like, oh,
you're not going to believe what he said.
I need a drink tonight.
Get an IV.
He's on the bandwagon. You could have jumped on the bandwagon in game like 60 when I watched a random Sunday Night Thunder game on Sunday Night Basketball, and I told you they were fantastic. They can't lose, and that's where they're at right now.
They're a perfect basketball team. I think I really slept on the Holmgren and Jalen Williams pieces. Those two jumped off the screen last night to me. Holmgren makes such an impact because even if he doesn't block or steal on a play defensively, he's just in the way and he's so long. He's a threat to score from wherever. And then Jalen Williams, when that dude's going right, I don't know how you defend them on the offensive end because they can just spread the floor.
And you saw the team celebrating, and there's also something about
towels.
They are a legitimate team. You saw them celebrating SGA kind of collecting the trophy at midcourt before the game started. That's what you want to see, especially with a young team. It doesn't seem like to be a ton of dissension. No. Who knows what's really going on in the locker room? But it's a team that does seem together, a team that has their head on straight. And again, what I keep saying about Anthony Edwards v. SGA, one's exciting and one's about business. So when it comes to championships and winning basketball games, I'm going to take the dude that's about business. And SGA, that's how he approaches it.
Yeah, you all can call his style of play boring, although he's really not getting to the free throw line at a historic rate like people are complaining. But two, your favorite superstar and your favorite team can do the same thing too. Go at the basket, get fouls, get those easy points. I would just say about Oklahoma City, Giannis, I know you want to go to New York. I know you want to be a legend. You go down to Oklahoma City and you go win 5 titles.
Go reset your internet. I'm going to take some calls. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. So let's get to some calls. Again, I go back, Showtime Lakers, Celtics, back mid-'80s into the bad boy Pistons, the hump that was created by them for the Chicago Bulls to get over, and then in obviously Shaq and Kobe with the Laker teams. You had the Celtic iterations. You had the Warriors. We're not comparing Oklahoma City to the Showtime Lakers, the 87 Celtics, the 89-90 Pistons, the Jordan Bulls. What we're saying for current basketball and current day, where a lot has changed as far as the formation of a team and how you can put together a team, and such disparity with teams tanking and just like an ever evolving association. It's a pretty special team in the moment. It's pretty incredible. Let's get to Greg in Los Angeles here, VSiN Live. Hi, Greg.
All right. Well, see, that's why you're the host and your other buddy there is not, and why he's your sidekick, because you just explained it and understand it. You're a little older. You're a little more mature. He obviously showed his inexperience and his vulnerability right there in 5 minutes I was listening to you guys, because he didn't say that. He was saying that this team could be one of the greatest of all time, and that's where I had to put on the brakes and call you guys and just remind you of some of the things that you already just said. So I'm glad you put it into perspective. That's right. You cannot compare this team to some of the all-time greats. Because if you just take like a team like the Utah Jazz that never won a championship, right? Karl Malone and John Stockton, that team would eat Oklahoma City's lunch and dinner all day long. Karl Malone would have a feast on those guys. I'm just saying, so there's a lot of teams that would beat this team. But yes, in this current climate of NBA and the way things are, without a doubt, this is a great team. I've thought it all year long. Now, I'm a New York Knicks fan, so obviously I'm with the Knicks, but I'm also a reasonable, objective person when it comes to sports. And I understand the challenges they have.
Well, may I ask you about the Knicks? Where do you stand tonight and moving forward in this series against the Pacers?
Look, obviously the last loss was one of the worst in team history, and it's the only way to get out from that is for them to win this series, or that's going to hang over their head forever. So yeah, this is the biggest Knick game in 25 years, or since they beat Boston last week. This is a huge game, and this is where the Knicks, experience and skill factor has to come in. I think that, yeah, Indiana has a lot of talent, but I think Knicks are a little bit more mature and smarter and a more aggressive team, and that physicality is going to have to play into them to get this win tonight. They cannot allow those deep threes to happen.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. I'll protect you before you go off.
Oh, sure.
I will protect you. I understood it as you were providing modernity as far as context with Oklahoma City. Not comparing them to the 66 76ers, not comparing them to the 86 Lakers. We're just saying because things have changed so much with the sport. Take a deep breath. Because things have changed so much with the sport, the construct of this roster makes them very special right now.
Well, we can say that before they've won one title, but what happens when this young core wins multiple? And by the way, I just looked it up. They won 68 games this year. The Utah Jazz, the best record they ever had was 64 wins. So technically, if we're going off wins and losses, they're actually better than the Utah Jazz. And if they win a title, they will be better than Karl Malone and John Stockton ever were, because that's how we judge these players and how we judge these teams. But more importantly, with the Thunder, they are already historic. And it has nothing to do with whether they win a title or not this year. And it's the thing that I kept pushing against, where I'm admitting I'm wrong. Every expert that came on our show for months kept pushing the agenda that Oklahoma City is a team metrically, from an offensive and defensive perspective, is unlike any team we've ever seen with the balance that they offer. So they are already historic in that right. But my point is, when they win a title here, it's setting up the next few. And if they do win multiple, then you have to talk about them as historic.
Well put. As far as point differential, they are the greatest team of all time. We can go there. But what I think Greg, you, and I, we're all on the same team, are saying is you can't really compare modern day basketball because of the unfortunate tanking and how the game, like, for example, I'll give you the best example. If you take a look at the 12-13 Miami Heat, does anybody want to throw them into the GOAT conversation when you have Wade, LeBron, All Prime, and Bosch, would they stack up? Listen, probably, but we don't even want to have that conversation because it feels ick. You understand what I'm saying? Like I want to remove them from the context with which we're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, built so differently.
Yeah, but to go further into context, we can only grade these teams on a curve, and that's judging them based on their peers. That goes for not just their era, but also in the individual seasons, right? So in this one season of NBA basketball, 2024-2025 season, look at the rest of the league. I'll agree with Greg in the sense that if you want to knock the Thunder because the rest of the league doesn't have the depth that maybe the 90s and 2000s have, sure, but we can only judge them based on the year they're playing in. And on a curve, they are so far and away better than everyone else. And this is a fact I didn't want to admit until today.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some great ones. The best I've ever seen, just because they terrified me. Well, Kareem, I'll just leave him over there because the team was great. And then the 85-86 Celtics. But I'm an old man, because if you start talking about the Warriors, you then have to go, well, which iteration? Kevin Durant with the Warriors, yes, but then we don't like having that conversation because it feels like cheating. Well, again, purely built from the trade of George to get SGA and then just build around what has blossomed into an MVP. That is what we're talking about as far as a great team.
How about a sidebar topic here, just conversation? Winning a championship for Oklahoma City that doesn't have other pro franchises. Is there a case to be made SGA accomplishing that and this core accomplishing that for a team like the Thunder in a smaller market? It is greater than another player winning the second, the third, the fourth, fifth title for another organization. Like SGA's title with the Thunder will mean more for his history, for the history of the NBA, than LeBron winning that one title with the Lakers, because the Lakers have won so many.
Well, I think your point's well taken. Like, the idea that Durant, who is going to be viewed as a better player than SGA once they both retire, had Russell Westbrook, who think whatever you want about Westbrook, that was obviously his prime, and they couldn't win a championship. If SGA were to do it with that same team, it's framed a little differently. I kind of like that. Yeah, it means a little bit more. 8-8 Mad Dog 6. It would be nice if it was done as a Seattle Supersonic. Let's be fair. Seattle deserves this. And I'm guessing, kind of like Drew Bledsoe, standing on that float, not in a good mood because Tom Brady won a championship, but he was still on the team. I'm guessing Seattle fans aren't pulling for Oklahoma City.
No, I imagine they did not go with the team to Oklahoma City. I imagine they found a new team to root for.
I'm guessing everybody in Seattle, including Eddie Vedder, is wearing a Timberwolves jersey today. 888-623-3646. Help the big guy and his Knicks because they're coming up in a half hour. You lose tonight, you go down 0-2. Turn out the lights, the party's over. You taking the 6 or you laying it? It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, check out the daily newsletter over at vsin.com/newsletter. There's no obligation. You just sign up with your email address and bam, it's right there before you wake up every single morning. Free plays. Brent Musburger gets involved with the daily newsletter. You get a lot of good nuggets every single morning. vsin.com/newsletter. As we do welcome you back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, heading into Memorial Day weekend, and we appreciate everybody. We will be here on Monday to react. So coming off a Sunday full slate of games, we'll be here on Memorial Day Monday. Looking forward to that. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Couple of things we want to talk about as we lead into game 2 at MSG. I think it's going to be tense at first. Madison Square Garden should feel good on a Friday. I've been around Madison Square Garden. I know about a lot of the bars around Madison Square Garden. I think people are going to be lubed up and in a good mood. And frankly, I think the Knicks kind of need it right now. I think the Knicks need a boost. I think that energy that was lacking over the final 2.5 minutes. And again, you could call it a lack of energy. However you want to frame it, the Pacers pressuring the Knicks. Brunson certainly seemed tired. We were just talking about defenders, too. It's like on paper, Anunoby is one of the better wing defenders we have in the game right now. Bridges can do some things as a longer guard. Karl Anthony Towns, that's the key you called out earlier. He did grab boards in game 1. He was active. The problem is you don't want him fighting with his own team. You want him taking that out on the Pacers. So let's focus tonight, big guy. Let's focus with the Knicks.
Yeah, and look, he takes Miles Turner's lunch every time they match up. He's dominated the Pacers all regular season. He was awesome in game 1. You mentioned Anunoby. Anunoby's job defensively is to shut down Siakam, and he did a good job in game 1. But they got to get some sort of offensive production out of him. I'd also say for Mikal Bridges, he's supposed to shut down Tyrese Halliburton. I know that's a tough task, especially with how much he moves with and without the basketball, his ability to kind of shoot from anywhere. But Mikal Bridges has got to get in Tyrese Halliburton's way a little bit. And on the crowd, I have some concerns because I'm with you on this one about New York sports fans. As someone who grew up there, they try to walk around and claim they're the best sports fans in the world. I have a feeling if Indiana comes out unfazed and unintimidated by them and hits some shots early and takes a lead, that could take the MSG crowd out of the game early, and that should be a huge edge for the Knicks here. So the Knicks need to come out and take some easy shots and get going offensively.
What's the first half number? My assumption is 3.5, somewhere in there, 3 on the Knicks with a 6.5 full game. Be curious to take a look at what that first half number is.
Ooh.
Like 3, 2.5,
4.5.
4.5. Well, I like the
That's
pace.
big. The numbers, look, the Knicks could blow them out today, and I still would go back in time, get in my DeLorean, and say I wouldn't lay 6.5 with the Knicks in this spot. I just would. It's a huge number against a team that has just so many different weapons to hit them with offensively.
The Pacers don't seem like the type of team, and we saw that in Cleveland when they closed them out. It doesn't. We use the term "play with their food" when talking about Boston, and I think you could say that about the Knicks. Game 5 in Boston, the Pacers don't seem like they have the mental and the disposition right now to be a team that's like, "Oh, we got one. Let's head back home with the split in home court." That doesn't kind of feel like the vibe of the Pacers.
Halliburton's a killer, man. He went for the throat. That's the question we had about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for years. Are you willing to be a killer? Do whatever, stop whatever's in your way to make sure that you win a title? Halliburton proved by going for that 3 in the kill shot, despite his foot being on the line, his mentality is to kill. A prop I want to throw your way because I think it's fascinating. Aaron Naismith, who went 8 of 9 from 3, he's shooting 53% beyond the arc. His 3-point prop number is set at 2.5 over plus 135. I know like the conventional wisdom would be to go under after a night like that, but the Knicks tried to hide Jalen Brunson on him at times defensively. 2.5 feels really low on a guy who hit 8 threes and like 6 of them in the fourth quarter alone.
Yeah, Neesmith was like, the one thing about him is, and basketball players in general, you ask them if they felt that stroke in game 1, it carries over. So I would agree with you. I wouldn't go away if I'm not gonna bet it, I just leave it alone, obviously. But if I'm gonna bet it, I'm gonna go over that. I think he's feeling good. There's gonna be a conversation with Halliburton before the game. Hey, feed me. I'm feeling it right now, and
Yeah, and
probably see him go off again.
I want to know if Naismith remembers each of those shots and how they came to fruition, because it feels like he was just blacked out and in his zone, and all of a sudden looked up and was like, "Oh, I hit 8 threes today."
One of the elements that we haven't discussed, and I think Jonathan brought it up yesterday. We've talked about it many times. I know Carlisle was a young coach when Dumars hired him to coach the Hard Hat Pistons in the middle aughts, early aughts, and he did a great job with them. It was his first head coaching job. He did a hell of a job with them. He was an assistant, I believe, with Bird in Indiana. Came to Detroit, did a great job. He just wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready to take that next step with them. They brought in Larry Brown. Larry Brown, arguably the greatest, right there, top 3 coaches of all time. Yeah, Larry Brown has a abrasive personality, but I'm talking in-game. Nobody's better than Larry Brown, and they won a championship with Larry Brown. Carlisle gets another opportunity with Dallas, one of the bigger upsets we've seen in the finals when beating LeBron's Miami Heat. Carlisle has now come to Indiana, settled that franchise down, had him in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and I thought coach circles around Tibbs, specifically down the stretch in Game 1.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty remarkable, and we've seen it a few times now, but watching it as closely as I did against the Knicks, just because I was so emotionally invested, they had a clear plan of what they were going to do down by that many points with 52, 53 seconds on the clock. They knew exactly how they wanted to play it, and they stuck to the plan. You could tell that they were baiting the Knicks to not use up a lot of time, giving them easy twos, getting it down court quickly, knock down threes, trade the threes for twos, do that math over that short amount of time. If they let the Knicks score early, they should be able to be back in the game. And that's exactly what they did with an opportunity to win it and then winning it in overtime. I thought Carlisle showed that he was prepared for just about any situation where the Knicks looked like they were just playing backyard basketball, making it up on the fly with Game 1 on the line. I thought it was a wild dichotomy. One team was planned and prepped for that situation, and the other one was just saying, we'll figure it out and time will run out at some point.
Bridges needs to be Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars was in his prime. Now, Joe Dumars got chunky, and so he started to slow down defensively. But Jordan said, on ball, nobody defended him better than Joe Dumars, and that's part of the 89-90 back-to-back Pistons. That's what Bridges needs to be on Halliburton. He needs to forget offense if you're Mikal Bridges. All you need to do is be in Halliburton shorts.
Mikal Bridges, he'll never live up to being traded for 5 first-round picks. I just need you to play worthy of being traded for like 2.5 tonight. That's what I need. Be worth half of what the Knicks gave up in draft picks to get you, and the Knicks will end up winning.
Well, to be fair to Bridges, he had
moments.
He had major big-time plays, clutch plays in that Celtics series.
Yeah, but that's all forgotten if Tyrese Halliburton tears him up again in Game 2.
Halliburton's just also on a heater. We have to recognize when certain athletes go on heaters, and Halliburton has been hitting game winner after game winner, series after series, and huge in the clutch.
Yeah, and he scares me. He's a player that scares me. I do think he does have a bit of a chip on his shoulder as well. We talked about Obi Toppin, how he was drafted by the Knicks. Obi Toppin was drafted by the Knicks out of Dayton before Tyrese Halliburton went to Sacramento in the same draft. And that was a player that the Knicks were interested in, Tyrese Halliburton at the time. Now, had they taken him, would he still be on the team? Would they have Jalen Brunson? We're probably not in this scenario. There's a whole butterfly effect that plays out. But the point is, you don't think Tyrese Halliburton, who thought there was a chance he would be a New York Knick, has something to prove in this series again, going at them again, trying to knock them out of the postseason with a trip to the finals on the line? That guy is ultra motivated. He's locked in, and he's proven time and time again in the fourth quarter. Brunson's a great closer. Halliburton's the guy I'm taking right now with the ball in his hands.
All right, we're going to come back, get your calls, and get the predictions in as we are 12 minutes off the top of the hour. What time do you think the game's actually going to start?
I'll tell you what, DraftKings usually gets it right. DraftKings is claiming 8:05 Eastern. I bet it ends up being like 8:07.
Okay, so just about 15 minutes away. Predictions, game 2. Pacers Knicks. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
The NBA Conference Finals roll on, and your home for every moment is Sirius XM NBA Radio Channel 86 tonight, 80 East. It's Game 2. We've talked about it between the Pacers and Knicks at Madison Square. You want the Indiana call? Tune into ESPN Extra Channel 81. Prefer the Knicks broadcast? Catch it on NBA Radio Channel 86 or go national with ESPN Radio Channel 80. Every angle, every moment, also available on the Sirius XM app. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher, Isaiah Ramirez, Ryan Smith. The whole crew is here. We welcome you in. I hope you have a long, extended weekend. Have a great time with the family. Enjoy yourselves. enjoy some basketball, enjoy some hockey. Don't forget, we do have game 2. The series that matters in the NHL postseason. It's going to be a great one tonight. It's, maybe Dallas is a slight favorite against the Oilers. The Oilers were out early in Dallas in game 1, and then the Stars came storming back and ended up winning game 1. I think that one's going 7. I very much don't think the Panthers and Hurricanes going 7. Let's be clear. They're up.
Yeah, how do you feel about the total tonight at 6.5 with all the goals the other night? Both offenses are awesome, but oftentimes we can see that overreaction, right? Coming off all those goals, the defense tightens up and it could go under, but my initial thought was go over the 6.5.
My advice on that would be, if you want to bet over, just let the game start. A few minutes in, it'll dip to 6. And then if you're feeling really frisky, wait for it to drop to 5.5, like 5 minutes in, and then pounce. Because I can't bet on 7 goals when the defense is going to tighten up after a ton of game 1. Oh, if you want to bet it, big guy, have at it.
No, I asked.
Life is short. Let's say hi to Biscuit, our buddy Biscuit in Houston. Hi, Biscuit.
Hey, what's up, my brothers?
What's up?
Hey,
Man, first of all, man, I appreciate y'all taking up for a brother the other night when dude tried to call me Muffin.
Yeah, he did hit you with a muffin, Biscuit, but your Biscuit, we got you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, call me a muffin. Okay, all right.
It doesn't have the same ring to it. I like Biscuit.
No, listen, man, and he was wrong also in his assessment of the Indiana, man. Now, you got in the state of Indiana, you got IU and Purdue, and you got half the state with IU, half the state Purdue. The one team they can unite behind is the Pacers. You see what I'm saying? So, man, I'm telling you right now, I've talked to some of my cousins, some of my classmates, man. Indiana's on fire right now, man. And if the Knicks lose tonight, and the biggest weekend in Indiana is this upcoming weekend because it's 500 weekend.
oh yeah.
Go to Indianapolis, 500 weekend, boy, it's gonna be on and popping up there.
Biscuit, thank you, buddy. Biscuit's got family up in Indiana. That's a good point. Indianapolis 500 with the game going back to Indiana. It's gonna be lit in those cornfields.
Yeah, and I just point about the being split. Million basketball teams there.
There you go. Let's squeeze them in, Mike and the OC. What's up, Mike?
Squeeze me in. By the way, here's a quick update. Beadle, Decker want you there next Saturday. Must. Get all those words. Zach Harper's going? The old Zach?
Oh,
So we'll see you there at 12 o'clock next Saturday, Patrick. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Oh, wait, noon next Saturday, Hennessy's Hermosa Beach. Is that what you're telling me?
but hold on, Mike.
That's
You
what
don't
I'm
get
telling
credit
you.
for Zach Harper. We invited Zach Harper.
Yeah, we literally invited Zach.
I know you did, but I just want to remind him that Zach's supposed to go. I mean, I know you guys have been in touch. Beadle didn't have your email, for goodness sake. She goes, Mike, you know him better than I do. I go, that's probably true. I got Dustin's number. What am I going to do with Patrick? I got Patrick's email.
Oh,
That's a mold
Email. I see with Hotmail. Why would anybody have my email, bro? What are you doing? I would, and no offense to Michelle, I don't give anybody my number. Spam like a mug,
She's cool though. She's cool.
Yeah, no,
Dustin,
I
you
agree.
better win tonight. You better win tonight, Dustin. That was as bad as a playoff loss in the conference finals that I've seen. I mean, I don't know if it gets much worse than that. What?
Well,
they scored
no, it
20
doesn't. The numbers say so.
Oh my God! Win tonight, everything will be fine. But you don't win tonight. Oh, but if the Knicks go out just 4 or 5 games, this is gonna be disastrous for the New York City. It's gonna be ugly. I'll be so bad. I have to send him something. I have to send him some, I don't know, corned beef, some pastrami, something, some deli.
Yeah.
We haven't had deli yet, so I guess I'll send.
All right, see you later. It's getting crunch time on that little Mad Dog Sports Radio party, which is, I swear to you, if I were to take this headset off right now and walk to the restaurant where they're all going to be next Saturday, I get there in 90 seconds. If I don't show up, I'm a dick.
If you don't show up as someone who's trying to make a concerted effort to be more social, you're going to have to call like an emergency therapy session to why you didn't go to this.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not feeling well. I'm just saying it right now. I'm not pretending to, I'm just saying I'm starting to feel a little bug coming on. Dan Carbuck is going to join us talking props, NBA, and more. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
If you haven't become a VSiN Pro, now is the time to do so. You go to vsin.com/subscribe. Look, we've got the Indy 500. We've got the Belmont. We made you a ton of cash. Samich has been killing it with the horses. You got Dan Karpuk over there giving out props. You've got the big guy, Dustin Swedelson. Are you still at the top of the leaderboard, big guy?
No, I am currently not, but I do have 6 plays on tonight's NBA game alone. So if I do well there, I could go right back to the top.
Okay, all experts over there when you sign up. Remember, you can also get the splits, Circa and DraftKings to make you a more sophisticated, better. It helps you out, and you can get the guides as well. Everything's offered for $19 through August 1st, vsin.com/subscribe. Okay, so it's 5:03 my time, 8:03 your time. Dan, who we're going to welcome in, 8:03 on the East Coast. My assumption is we're going to get ball up in the air in about 7-8 minutes, so we do have time to talk about Pacers Knicks game 2, and then we'll get into a bunch of stuff. Dan Karpuk is joining, VSiN player prop analyst at Daniel Karpuk, Karpuc on Twitter. Dan, welcome to the team and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for spelling out my name too. It's a weird one, so I really appreciate that.
It's not easy. You are a Celtics fan there in Connecticut, but you do know, I'm sure, plenty of Knicks fans in that region. And tonight is fascinating on a multitude of levels. Obviously, we just saw it's great theater on Wednesday night, but here comes the Knicks. They're 6.5 off the 4.5 close in game 1. That total 226s at 26s after 1,000,000 points scored in game one. Before we get to the props, do you have an opinion side or total?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think everybody who looks at that game one box score, you have to remember there was overtime, number one. That goes for player props, that goes for everything. You have to keep that in mind. With that being said, though, I really like the Pacers. Pacers +6. I like them on the money line, too. I already bet both of those. The first quarter over 54.5. I also like. I don't really love the full game total because I think Rick Carlisle in Coach Tibbs, I kind of trust in their ability to make some adjustments at halftime. And I think that we could see some more aggressive adjustments here in game two at halftime if needed. But I do like that first quarter. If you look back at game one, both of these teams are super efficient, yes, but they also were playing at a blistering pace very early on here. So I like that first quarter over, and I like the Pacers in the game overall.
Yeah, I bet 210. I bet 210 big guy on the Pacers. Dustin, by the way, Dan, is a Knicks fan. I love the Pacers tonight. Freaking love them.
Okay, and I'm terrified, Dan. Like, full disclosure, coming into this series, I hated the matchup, and I'm just curious, for as someone who like analyzes this, especially from a player prop perspective, when you have two teams that are so opposite styles, right? Indiana's super deep. They want to get up.
Can
and
we get
go.
his props real quick? Sorry, Dustin,
Yeah.
because it's about to start. Do you want to throw your props out? Then we can talk about
Sure. Karl Anthony Towns over 23.5 points. Tyrese Halliburton over 2.5 made threes. Siakam under 18.5 points because he's going to get that OG and Anunoby defense. And finally, my long shot bold call of the day, Josh Hart triple double at plus 1,300. So I love the price on that one.
How hard is it for you to find those bets, as I was mentioning, with this style of play where Indiana wants to get up and go and they're super deep, and then the Knicks, shallow roster, really rely on most of their scoring to come from a couple of guys here?
Yeah, so like you said, obviously very conflicting styles of play here. When you look at a guy like TJ McConnell, for example, he was priced up a little bit more than I wanted him to be, unfortunately, but you saw that when he came in the game, he's always aggressive. He's this feisty little dude who comes in and kind of scurries all around. But when he's playing against tired legs, he appears even quicker. So a guy like that, a guy on on that's Indiana's second unit, which I think could make a big difference in this series. That's a spot that I like to go to. But overall, like you mentioned, on the Knicks side of things, particularly, there's going to be a concentration towards Jalen Brunson, towards Karl Anthony Towns, and from a player perspective, particularly in the points markets, that's a breath of fresh air for someone like me who's looking at this volume. I'm all about volume. That's kind of why I like Tyrese Halliburton over his 2.5 made threes tonight, because I'm looking at his first game here, 12 3-point attempts. That's the volume I want, but 11 of those were on open or wide open looks. So it's all about volume here, and when you can see that concentration, it's just music to my ears. So I know that you guys, before I came on, were talking about how you want to see Mikal Bridges really try to clamp down defensively. We know OG is going to clamp down defensively, so hopefully a big night from Towns and Brunson in that concentrated scoring attack there on the New York side.
Well, you just got an attempt, Dan, on a Halliburton three. He did miss it, but you like to see him aggressive early, just less than a minute into the game. The Knicks do lead 2-0. Dan Karpuk joining us, a VSiN prop analyst, as the Knicks hosting Pacers game 2. That's underway, and we'll keep you updated with the in-game numbers throughout the program tonight. I'm looking forward to this game. It looks like there's a lot of energy at MSG as Siakam answers. It's 2-2, 10:58 to play. Dan, let's shift over to what we saw last night. We can talk big picture and then get into your approach on props with Timberwolves Thunder. Tell me how, in any way, the T-Wolves can get back in this series.
Number one, they need to bench Mike Conley. That like last game, I mean, from a player prop perspective, it was great because in games 1 and 2, I hammered Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander Walker, and Naz Reid. That paid off yesterday big time. But I don't understand how Chris Finch put in Mike Conley down the stretch of that game last night. We know that Rudy Gobert is kind of just, he's out there for the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, kind of just, so it looked like he was playing volleyball, tapping out, trying to tap out rebounds to his teammates yesterday. So I really do think there needs to be a major adjustment there when it comes to Mike Conley. He's not really offering anything much at all in this matchup. He's completely overmatched. I mean, you look at the guys on the other side here. Conley's age, yes, he's that leader, quote unquote, but that doesn't really serve them well against this Thunder team. So I expect there to be a change. I might be Nikhil after that really nice game 2, who gets the nod, but I really do think there's going to be a change there in the starting lineup. But overall, you have to, Anthony Edwards needs to show up in a big way, obviously. But these guys need to hit their open shots. After game 1, when DiVincenzo was missing, I think he had like 12 wide open 3-pointers out of his 13, and he missed all but one of them. Naz Reid needs to step up offensively. The ancillary pieces outside of Anthony Edwards need to step up. I just don't know if they have the firepower, honestly.
Yeah, Dan, I've been so confused about what Finch is doing and the lack of adjustments. Game 1, I thought it was a big mistake trying to play Oklahoma City style. That fell right into their trap. And then game 2, I don't understand what we saw in the third quarter. It just completely unraveled out of the locker room, which leads me to believe Oklahoma City's better at making the adjustments. Looking at the side for game 3 tomorrow, do you think Oklahoma City laying 2.5? Do you think that number is just right? You think it's too big, too small? What do you think of the side in tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I think that's just right. We do have to understand also that this Timberwolves team, we got to give them the respect that they were there last year. They're now playing in front of their home fans. A-Rod's going to be sitting courtside, so you got a little celebrity row going on there of their own. But in all seriousness, though, in front of that home crowd, let's see them, make a difference there. Oklahoma City's young. We saw that youth kind of play out in previous rounds a tiny bit. So I think that the number's correct. And I'm really just interested to see if, like you said, Finch makes those adjustments. I think he could probably make a statement that things are going to be a little bit different if he makes that lineup change, but we'll see heading up to game time.
Anunoby just hit a 3. I would like you two to know that Karl Anthony Towns' first 3-point attempt wasn't air.
Oh, it was bad.
Can we stop? You're 7. I know I sound like an old man, but can we not live on the 3-point line when you're 7 foot?
They don't have a matchup for him down low. What are you doing?
I know. And he is so gifted. Here he is again, just floating around the 3-point line. I don't know, Dad. Like, do you attack Karl Anthony Towns in any way in the prop market?
Yeah, so I had him over 23.5 points today, just based on what he's done against. He's absolutely victimized Miles Turner for whatever reason. It was pretty wild. In 12 career games versus Turner, he's averaged 29.4 points per game, 54% shooting, 44% from deep. He scored 10 points on 5 of 6 shooting across just 27 partial possessions against him in game 1. That's the kind of nerd speaking in me there, if you could tell, looking back at the data. But yeah, I thought there was an edge there. Obviously that air ball that you just laid out there kind of makes me shake my head a little bit.
Dan, he just pulled up from the logo and missed another. Dustin, I saw you shaking your head. Was that what it was about?
What we got a half court shot next, maybe? I mean,
he
literally pulled up.
He literally shot it from like 40 feet. It's and then by the way, the Knicks don't get the rebound because it's only Josh Hart under the basket because, the 7-foot guy who's in for rebounding is hoisting threes from half court, basically. Look, Indiana looks good. Halliburton had a dime early in this one. Oh, and he kind of flexed a little bit after.
Ooh, and a 3-pointer. 14-6 Pacers. The Pacers, Dan, we were talking earlier, like they just don't seem like the type of team that's like, all right, we'll split, we'll go back home court. Like it does seem to be a team with a mentality that's prepared for this.
Yeah, and if you look back at the regular season, they got out to like a 500 start over the first like few weeks, but from that point on, they were one of the best teams in the NBA, flying under the radar. Before the playoffs started, I wrote an article on my own site about how I thought they were the biggest value on the board. just in terms of what they had done down the stretch of the regular season. And absolutely no one was talking about them just because of the style of play. You look at them and, oh, is Tyrese Halliburton really a superstar? I think he definitely likes playing that villain role and being a bit of a head case out there. I definitely think that, but I do have to say though, I really hope that Thibs can kind of get over the hump. Just he was born here in Connecticut, right next to where I am, in a place called New Britain. They call it Hard Hit in New Britain. He famously a couple of years ago was like, I never wanted a wife, I never wanted a family. I devoted my whole life to basketball. So I want this for him so badly. But at the same time, I do think that the Pacers are the better team, and we'll see what happens here.
But random thing, I just happened to come across this last night, but apparently Tibbs was at Salem State University. Rick Brunson was also there. That's when the relationship began, and Jalen has known Tibbs basically his entire existence on the planet. They coached together at other places, but those two got started in the Northeast, in the New England area. I just thought that was interesting. I'm curious, Dan, what you do in a situation where a guy like Aaron Naismith hits 8 threes in a game, 6 in the fourth quarter. His 3-point prop tonight was 2.5, and the over was juiced at plus money. And I know we normally want to go on the under after someone has a historic performance, but that number felt a little low. He just hit a 3 for Indiana. Did you think about doing anything with him tonight, coming off a 30-point night where he was just bonkers?
What you just laid out was exactly my thought process. I was like, okay, this is plus money. This is an easy over, right? I mean, and then I'm thinking to myself, in this situation, I would almost always go under. Yeah. So I just stayed away from it. But I do think obviously there was a lot of value there. If you think back to like his college days, he was this prolific long range shooter. Then when he started out in the NBA, I think he lost a little bit of confidence there when he started out on the Celtics before he got traded over. But I heard you guys talking before I got on, and we're talking about confidence. And I think that when you talk about the mental side of things and the psychological part of the game, which we can never really break down from a analytics or numbers perspective, I do think that is an interesting factor to kind of think of when you head into game 2 here, because confidence has to be at an all-time high after doing what he did last game and after pulling off 3 historic, like almost certain losses that turned into wins in this postseason. So I stayed away from it, but I had the same thought process as you just had.
I know Tibbs, Dan Karpuk joining us, VSiN analyst. I know Tibbs, I've heard the story many a times about he's just married to the game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of depressed. Like, I'm a 47-year-old man that's never been married to, but God willing, hopefully one day I can have some balance in my life. He just keeps talking about how this is the way to go. It's like, maybe mix it up a little bit, Tibbs. He's aging in front of us on the sideline. That's just an aside. It is funny how you said, like, because analytically driven, and my assumption is that you go hardcore with the analytics. I am not an analytical person, so I do look for that emotional element, but it's hard to handicap, right? Like, one thing I will say is the market is so funny, because even if you look at last night's hockey game, there was just this assumption in the market that Carolina bounces back because they're at home and they lost game 1. Florida's the much better team. If you watch, like, it's not even a question. And the assumption today was after a horrific loss, that 4.5 jumps up to 6.5. So, like, there is this emotional aspect to the market as well, Dan, where it's just like, well, we assume the Knicks are just going to bounce back and even up the series.
For sure. And as someone who looks at, I do have to say there is a caveat there in terms of, I think sport by sport, it is a little bit different analytically to look at things. For example, when you look at NBA data, I mean, the NBA does an amazing job on their website of supplying anyone who looks for it with all the data they ever need. So you look at a sport like that versus a more random sport like baseball, for example, where outside of maybe pitcher analytics, maybe outside of swing and misses and K rates and stuff like that, it might be a little bit harder to break down in a sport like hockey, where it's physical and it's driven by, a lot of it's driven by will and hustle. It's sport by sport. I definitely think that there's a little bit of a difference there, but like you said, I mean, that is an element along with, I'd say, I start off, basically my process is I start off, I look at the board, I look across, I jot down some things, I look if that initial supposition is kind of backed up by data, and then I also look for narratives that also can blend into that as well. So that's kind of my personal philosophy when it comes to breaking down props.
I'm going to ask a personal question that I need to know the answer to for my handicapping, because I generally in the regular season, Dan, my whole strategy is just a player's injured, who benefits on the team historically, like over the last 10, 20 games, whatever it is, when that player's out, who performs well. In the playoffs, that becomes a little bit harder because there's no more load management. The guys are going to play through injuries. I'm just curious for you when it comes to betting overs versus unders. Like, I can't identify an under to save my life 90% of the time. How good are you at locking in and saying this is an under I want to play versus an over?
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, where most of my plays, I'd say 75% to 80% of my plays end up being overs. I think in terms of, that's more on the NBA side of things. It does vary by sport. For NFL, I'm more around like 60-40, I'd say. But for NBA particularly, in this day and age, like I have Pascal Siakam under 18.5 points. If he goes out there and steps out there on the perimeter and makes 3-3-pointers, which is, very logical, it doesn't matter how much he's locked up on the inside or if he's driving, that is most likely going to be toast. And he's averaged like 20 point something points per game this season. So when it comes to betting overs versus unders here, when looking back at previous rounds, for example, when Jokic, this monster on a point, rebound, assist per minute basis, and you project him from his regular season of like 36 minutes to, now he's at 42 minutes. And how much of a discrepancy there is there looking at his regular season props versus his playoff props? And something I do when I break down props here is I look back at the regular season and I'm saying, okay, are the odds makers really accounting for this boost in minutes that we're seeing here in the playoffs? So that's definitely an element of what I look at, because it is, when you're looking at a predictive angle, very easy to look back and say, okay, with this guy off the floor, this guy benefits. He sees a usage bump of X or so, and he's scoring 0.78 points per minute. Okay, we can now project him as something here in the playoffs. So it's a little bit more of a science here in the playoffs, obviously, due to the rotations. But I think there are edges available, but I do find myself on the under much less in the playoffs than I do in the regular season.
Well, and let me just say, to protect what Dustin said and what Dan's saying, like I bet a ton of unders total betting when it comes to college and pro football, but when it comes to looking for props in basketball, I think it's human nature to look for a player's opportunity to flourish. That's where our brain goes. Like, this is a good matchup for player X, points, rebounds, assists, whatever way you're looking at. I think our human nature, our inclination is to look for an opportunity for a player to flourish. And then if you happen to find, well, this is a terrible matchup, or there's inflation because it's a star, again, you're always going to get dinged by the big names in the market where there's going to be inflation. So maybe you go under there. But I do believe, Dustin, that it's, human nature to look for opportunities for players individually to flourish in basketball.
Yeah, but that's the problem right there, what you just said. Because if you're going to bet an under on a really massive number on a player, the reason that number is massive is because that player's capable of doing some absurd historical things on any given night. So if you're going to look for unders and your goal is to find some of the lower guys on the board, well, if they just get hot, they can clear these very low numbers early in a game and you're completely screwed. That's why it's those guys in the middle where you're just trying to find game flow or situations. But Dan's right. You have to create the narrative and then find what fits that narrative of how the game's going to go. It's easier said than done. And speaking of the narrative for tomorrow, I know the article's not up yet, but I know all your articles for all your NBA player props, VSiN.com, become a pro right now. You can see everything Dan's doing every single day of the NBA postseason. Is there anyone you're identifying in Game 3, Oklahoma City and Minnesota, where you're thinking about playing from a player prop perspective?
Yeah, certainly not Rudy Gobert. Certainly not Mike Conley. I'm going to say that right off the bat here. If I go with Gobert, I actually think it's interesting to look at a Gobert first quarter rebound line. I've done this with a lot of success early in the playoffs just because he's going to see that early run. But definitely fading those two guys if I get good numbers for the full game. Also, something to keep in mind with Julius Randle getting benched last game. So I'm going to probably look at his first quarter scoring prop. Maybe if I could get some combo line as well on him. I just think that he's the type of player who's going to take that personally and really want to. If the data shows that that's a smart play, I'm definitely going to go there as well. But I'm not going to go with Anthony Edwards. I'm assuming he's at like 26, 27 and a half, something like that on his point total. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go with the over. I'm not going to go with either side of that probably. Just thinking back to last round and what we were just talking about, when Jokic looked like he was completely bottled up by the defense that he was facing, by Oklahoma City. The next game he went out and I had the under 29 and a half. He went out and scored 44 in the next game. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what you were saying there. These guys that are capable of just going off, and Anthony Edwards is one of those guys. But I do think that if the bench stays the same, I'm going to have the same exact philosophy that I did in games 1 and 2, where I'm going to look for the value with Nikhil Alexander-Walker and Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo. If we look early, I had Dante DiVincenzo over 2.5 threes last game, which absolutely crushed me because he had 2 threes in the first quarter and then he didn't do anything and then he got benched in the fourth quarter for Mike Conley, which I was pacing across my living room. I could not believe it. But I think Naz Reid, we haven't seen his ceiling. If you look back to the regular season, yes, he played 3 of the 4 games without Rudy Gobert when he played Oklahoma City, but he averaged something like 22 and 10 against Oklahoma City. So he proved that he can knock down some open shots. He's a good 3-point shooter, and he just can't find the bottom of the net in this series so far here. So those guys, I had a combo line, points, rebounds, and assists on him. I'm going to probably look at points and rebounds for him tomorrow. But Nikhil Alexander Walker has looked great, and he has that storyline against his cousin. If you look back, it's kind of crazy how this is a low usage guy in normal games, and then when he plays his cousin, he turns into a completely different player. So I think he's gone over his points prop 10 of the last 13 games against SGA, his cousin. So they grew up together, and it's like they're really, really close. So I think it actually does matter when you look at it for a psychological, like narrative based impact here for game.
Well, that's that human element that we were
exactly
where you all of a sudden throw in playing your cousin, and there's extra motivation. Before we say goodbye, Dan, I'm always curious how one gets in the space. You're in Connecticut, where I believe we've legalized sports betting as the proliferation continues across the country. What was your journey into sports betting? Now, of course, part of the VSiN team and doing a great job writing over there. You mentioned at the beginning you had your own website.
Yep.
What was your foray into sports betting?
Yeah, so right out of college, I thought I wanted to work at ESPN. Got the opportunity to work at ESPN. I grew up 10 minutes away here in Connecticut. I ended up not liking it at all, much to my shock. I kind of looked for new opportunities, ended up at doing some startup DFS stuff, some stock market trading game, moved over to New York City, and that ended up not panning out. I then went over into the writing space full time, where I did freelance writing for a bunch of different sites, published millions of words over the span of 6-7 years, really grinded it out until I found an opportunity at BetQL, which is what is an analytics site. And there I kind of worked on marketing. I did all of the content, got into doing some on-air stuff, really kind of launched my whole sports betting analysis career there, and kind of honed in on what I'm good at. And I found that player props was the area where I really excel. So it's this is now 7 years after that time. I recently moved on from Odyssey, which purchased BetQL, and found an opportunity here at VSiN, and this is great. I mean, so it's been a long process of fine tuning my personal process in these markets and really finding out what I'm best at. And but yeah, that's how I got here. A lot of grinding.
I'm
it's
curious,
incredible.
Dan, when did you realize you were smart? Because all of that involves being really, really smart and having such an analytical mind. Because it's one thing for people to create these algorithms and do that, but it feels like you really understand what you're doing, how you tweak it, and the fact that everything you're doing here was probably transferable to your life in this working in the stock market as well. When did you realize your brain was very math driven?
Yeah, so I'd say more so than that even. There was just a desire to make sport working in sports what I do for a living. I mean, when you look at, I've people in my family, my friends, and they mention how much they hate their job, and
Yeah.
how much it's sad to me. I'm big with the philosophy, we have one life to live, let's make the best of it, and try to keep a positive attitude. I've tried to say yes as much as I can throughout my career. I've done the thing where when my daughter was born, I stayed up from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. doing a shift of writing for a company over in Europe after she went to bed.
Wow.
And I slept for 2 hours, woke up and took care of her throughout the day. So there was a lot of stuff throughout my career where it's just a lot of grinding. And, I've definitely been always pretty analytical, and I like the ability to kind of tell a story through numbers, through things that are kind of proven in the past, and kind of apply those to the future. So that's always been a part of my process, whether it comes to sports or whether it comes to really anything I'm thinking about.
Well, it's a great story, a reminder. If you want to do something you love, you got to sacrifice. I've been doing this my whole life. I have a hard time when I go out and meet people that have real jobs explaining what I do, because hello, this is literally stealing money. I know a lot of people in this industry take themselves seriously and pretend like we're moving boulders. We're not. We're talking about basketball. It's
Yeah,
easy.
we took our kids out for Halloween last year, and we went around introducing ourselves to other parents. And it's like, hi, my name is so and so, I'm a doctor. Hi, I'm so and so, I'm a lawyer. My wife's a pharmacist. It gets to me, I'm like, I help people bet on sports. I'm glad all of you have real jobs, but I have fun every day at work. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I've actually started lying to Uber drivers about it because I don't want to answer the follow-up questions explaining how childish this job is.
No, it's really just it's also people don't. It's like people are like, well, what's your real job?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you do?
How do you impact Earth?
I'm like, no, seriously, that's all I do. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. Dan Karpuck, great job, man, and great to have you part of the VSiN team. You can read Dan over at VSiN.com, become a pro, and get his plays. We've got a lot of smart people writing and giving picks over at VSiN.com. Just go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code SIRIUS. Dan Karpuck. At Daniel Karpuck, I will spell it, Karpuc on Twitter. Dan, we'll do it again soon. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys. Hope to do it again soon.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you to Dan. The big guy with the hard-hitting question. When did you realize you were smart?
Well, he was speaking, and I'm realizing what he does for sports can be applied to probably like 4, 5, 6 different industries because his brain is analytical, because he thinks about the numbers and the probability. I'm just curious because, full disclosure, anyone who's listened for the last hour and a half, not smart.
You do have to, but he is right. The concept of doing something you love, and also it's just like with this, it is so funny. I am bothered at this point. Hey, what happened to my TV? Hold on, I'm bothered.
I think you clicked it because you're fidgeting over there.
I fixed it. Bothered at this point, and trust me, I know that people in the industry have to give interviews about what it's like being a sports talk host. Can we just chill? Can we chill and just say, I don't know. It's pretty easy. I got super lucky, and there's a million people that can do the job. They picked me, and I'm just going to keep doing it until they tell me I can't do it anymore. How about we go there and stop
Okay.
pretending?
But unintended consequences of you actually, I know you, and I know you really feel that way. But because you don't care to do that, you don't care for the self-promotion to talk about what you do for work and how smart and interesting you are compared to the rest of the people doing this. No, you've created a mystique around yourself that only makes people want to hear it more. So you, by not doing it, has actually made it more interesting to people on the outside.
It's not a mystique. I just don't have any social media. Okay, I mean this. I don't. Somebody was asking me about it recently. Don't you think it could be beneficial to your career?
Yes.
The answer is yes. And I say it to the big guy all the time. You should definitely use social media to your advantage. I just don't have anything to say on social media. And I truly believe it'll be revealed as a cesspool. So if we all have choices to make. You want to get involved in the greater good, or you want to get involved in the slippery slope that is social media. It's a cesspool.
I wake up every day knowing that if I just sit here at my little desk, prop my phone up, and make a TikTok, and if I do that every day for 3 months, I can potentially do something with it. Now, there's a chance I can't, but I'll never find out if I don't. And at the same time, I don't want to do it because it also sounds like heavy lifting that you have to consistently do every day. And I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't know if the effort's
That's
worth
two
it.
different things. You're
No,
just saying you're being lazy.
No. The juice worth the squeeze has nothing to do with the success factor. It has to do with the fact that the repercussions and there's two sides to social media. And the way I feel when I post something isn't a real feeling. It's similar to the feeling when you place a bet. It feels good in that moment, but you know what you got to do? You got to do it again and again and again. That's an issue.
So you're saying you're getting off social media.
I have dialed back my social media use. I used to be scared to be alone with my thoughts in reality, and now I'm kind of realizing that's what life is, so you just got to deal with it.
Isn't it simpler? You got a girlfriend, so you actually have something going on.
That's probably it too. I was probably just bored. It was probably the same reason why I ate It's probably the same reason I ate.
That's why people drink. That's why people get on social media. They're freaking bored.
No, it's why I ate. It's why I used to eat the way that I did and was like 60 pounds heavier, 70 pounds heavier, because I just sit around out of boredom and eat or be on social media. And now I actually have a life and things to do.
You lost 70 pounds?
Yeah, good way. And yesterday at the doctor, they won't let me have Ozempic. They keep saying you're losing weight on your own. We're not going to give it to you.
What do you weigh now?
315. I've been flat for a little bit here for about a month, but blood pressure was the lowest it's ever been. 120 over 77.
That's a great blood pressure. What's the goal on weight?
It's a good question. I mean, the goal is always 250. That's always the goal, but I've done it differently this time. Where I normally lose 30 pounds at a time, and I starve myself. I'm actually not I'm doing this weird thing called moderation, and it's going okay at the moment.
Are you doing the thing where you're posting on social to quote unquote keep yourself accountable?
No.
See, that's having something valuable in your life, like another individual that gives you the adoration and attention that you would elsewhere get from social and strangers.
The value is that my pants don't fit anymore. Not other people like that. I took a picture of myself in my shirt's baggy. It's like, oh, cool. I have to buy a new belt. That's what I want.
Well, you're acting like you're above it. You do remember you were taking shirtless selfies, and
I'm not. Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say I'm above it. I used to do that, and I can acknowledge that is someone who's doing it for the wrong reasons. That's all.
So wait, are you announcing you're going to be on TikTok?
I feel like I'm supposed to. I feel like there's opportunities there. I feel like it's a way to quote unquote expand what I'm doing. But do I want to do that?
So you haven't answered it. You said, I'm going to get on TikTok because I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And then you said, it's a lot of work and I have to do it every day. Which one?
It's not, but the work isn't the thing holding me back. It's not the work. It's that the feeling you get, social media is not healthy. I think it's potentially the end of times. It's going to ruin society.
Right. So then why do you keep on saying you think that's what you should do?
Because I think for our industry, we're supposed to do that. I think we're supposed to.
Yeah. You're good. No, TikTok. That's the reason people hate Tyrese Halliburton, because he's getting these dances on
I'm
TikTok.
gonna pull up his TikTok. I want to see what it looks like that everyone's so butthurt about it.
Get you updated on Pacers Knicks in game. I will say this: the Knicks are making a run. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hey, there's your boy. Campaign's feeling himself, Mr. 3. Is that what you want to see, big guy?
No, because no matter what he does, he's going to shoot again. If he misses one, he thinks he's due. If he makes one, he thinks he's hot. Either way, Campaign's going to keep shooting.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. McConnell, I wanted to call him O'Connell, with a bucket to tie it up at 26. So nice, great start from Indiana. The Knicks have settled down. Let's go ahead and get an updated number with 10:57 to play in the second.
Yeah, let's also discuss a developing situation with the zesty one. Knicks laying 5.5 in game, total 215.5. Money lines come down a little bit on the Pacers. They're now plus 150, minus 195 on the Knicks. And just checking in on Karl Anthony Towns, who averages about 30 points per game versus the Pacers this year. Through 8 minutes of action, he has 0 points, 0 assists, and 1 rebound. So appreciate the 7-footer showing up here in a big spot.
The zesty one. He's something. Never know what you never know what you're gonna get. He is on the court.
But the whole, like, the identity thing where his voice is different, his tone is different when you hear him. It's the same. No, but it's the same thing on the floor. His identity is always different on the floor. If he would just be who he is, which is a 7-foot mismatch in the post, who can hit that mid-range and occasionally step back for a three, he'd be unstoppable. But he doesn't want to be that. He wants to be something else all the time, and that's why he's inconsistent.
Siakam with a transition bucket off a block, 28-26. The Knicks lead. You know what I haven't done? We haven't updated the hockey game yet. What is
I haven't even looked.
I got to get my split screen. Oilers lead 1-0. Oilers lead 1-0. 9:27 to play in the first. So let me just see if my strategy would have worked. Yeah, you would have gotten maybe close to 5.5, definitely 6, because they scored about 6 minutes into the game. So you see what I'm saying? You don't want to bet that pregame because 6.5, that's 7 goals, obviously. 6, you push. 5.5, 6 goals wins it for you. So you want to, it's almost like walking the fine line, letting the game play out a little bit.
1, home ice, completely irrelevant. 2, what I said about Karl Anthony Towns like 3 minutes ago, also completely irrelevant. Goes, gets contact in the paint, gets a bucket and one situation. That's all he needs to do all day. They can't defend him down there. He's too athletic.
Yeah, but the problem is he scored his first bucket with 9:54 to play in the second and flexed his muscles all the way back to the free throw line. Dude, you've been horrible in the game. Maybe wait to flex.
Yeah, he's really obnoxious about that stuff, and he's always flopping and yelling about calls. I saw a whole TikTok the other day of people on the street in New York City doing impressions of him, and everyone's go-to impression was, "Oh my God," because that's what he says every time he thinks he's on the wrong end of a foul call. He's a frustrating player to deal with. That's why after the Knicks lose to the Thunder in the finals, I can't wait to use him in a package to get Giannis to New York.
I think he just hit a 3, so.
He shut me up fast.
Yeah. I do. Whenever you mention Cat, you bring up the accents. That you're stuck. You like that.
Isaiah, you're younger than me. You see these things. Karl Anthony Towns' voice changes more than the seasons. Every time I see him doing an interview, he's got a different. We'll get some audio and we'll play it during the show. Let me find that.
Yeah, I would like to hear that. Dustin going to Isaiah. He got frustrated.
Well, he's young. He sees the thing. You're not on social media like I am. I've dialed it back, but no matter how much I dial it back, I'll still be on social media more than you.
Speaking of social media, when you went to the bathroom, I asked Isaiah if anything you said about social media makes sense. He said no. We're still trying to figure it out because I'll follow you. I'll follow you on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok.
You start making content on TikTok,
whatever.
which is what you said.
Yeah,
I'll follow you.
No, the issue is the dopamine hit that comes with posting on TikTok. I literally have conversations with my therapist where she says, unless you have to do it for work, don't get on social media. Now, I don't always listen, but that's what she says to do. And I feel like TikTok is the one that could be the most addictive of them all.
Is that the one that's hottest in the streets right now?
It's the one where the algorithm, if you just do the right thing at the right time, it falls into the other algorithms of people and things just blow up and you could also make money off it. I don't think I'm going to make money off it. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it's something I'm supposed to do to promote what I do here.
We are working through it. By the end of the show, you're either going to or not going to.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to make sense, Find a different person. I'm never going to make sense.
No, and that's what makes you you. But while you're talking, go back and watch it tonight. While you're talking, you can.
No, I can't. I don't do that anymore. Don't do it anymore.
That's good. You can see your battle. You're contradicting. You're fighting for reasons for yourself and fighting against yourself.
Well, no, and like what you said about being lazy is partially true, and now I want to shove it in your face and do it and prove I'm not lazy, even though you're not doing it in a way where you're criticizing me, but it's going to help motivate me to want to do it now.
No, my wish for you would be to get off it altogether. That would be my wish for you, and live a wholesome life and enjoy yourself.
I'm trying to go to Wyoming tomorrow. If I could figure that out, Wyoming, middle of nowhere, no internet, that sounds like the dream. Every year I get older, it sounds better and better.
Okay. You want to be a cowboy?
I mean, that horse would have to be like a double wide horse to handle me, but sure.
33-33, 755. I'm curious, as they're tied, what is the in-game number? It closed 6.5. Did they reset it to 6.5?
It's still 5.5. Total 219.5. So that's dropped a ton. But we're still sitting at 5.5. Closed at 6.5. You could still get a decent number if you like Indy.
Okay. When we come back, we'll set up tomorrow's game 3 in Minnesota. Curious to see what the number is. Oklahoma City up 2-0 in the series. My guesses are like $6 favorites in the series. Dustin, is that what? Are we close to that? $5.50?
No, you're not even close. You're not even in the same hemisphere.
It's like $7?
No, you're not even the same solar system.
So 1,000 to win 100?
Oklahoma City's minus 1,400.
Oh my gosh.
Now, again, would never tell you lay 1,400 to win 100, but I can tell you you will have $1,500 when the series is over.
Yeah, you definitely will. Let's talk game 3 coming back. OKC at Minnesota. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Here's Patrick Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live Mad Dog Sports Radio on a Friday. Hope you're doing well. Memorial Day weekend coming up, so hopefully you have some extended time off. Quickly, so tomorrow, 5:24? Yeah, tomorrow, Oklahoma City, that open 4 has dropped to 2.5. They're favored by 2.5 in Minnesota. I know it feels too easy, but do you feel comfortable taking 2.5 with Minnesota? I would not.
It just feels like Minnesota is supposed to win one of the next two. I mean, I don't feel like it's super likely, and the market doesn't think so either. We just looked it up before the show. A sweep is plus 160. So Minnesota's supposed to win one of these next two games. The question is, do you believe it's the next one or it's going to be in game 4? I think Oklahoma City's still the play here. I think defense travels.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, Cat is cooking right now.
Yeah, since I trashed him, he's been out of his mind.
He has. He's got 12 points. He went from 0 to 12 in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Although,
so did I when I saw he did that.
Neesmith just hit a 3, 40-36. So that's where you have right now. Yeah, Towns the leading scorer. Anunoby's got 9. Brunson's got 9. And it's a 4-point game with 6:19 to go. So, yeah, listen, what you said about defense traveling, I totally agree with. That is one where it feels wait, you're giving me, it's almost like the Florida Panthers and Carolina Hurricanes yesterday, where I got plus 115 on Florida. It's like, wait, you're essentially saying lay 2 with the much better basketball team. I understand it's the spot for Minnesota, desperation. One team is a better basketball team. Let's just be real about it.
They're significantly better. There is nothing that Minnesota does better than Oklahoma City. And Minnesota is a very good team. Minnesota is a good defensive team. They have a star in Edwards who can get buckets. They have great perimeter shooting, great perimeter defense. But Oklahoma City is swallowing them every chance on that end of the floor. When Oklahoma City's on defense, Minnesota has absolutely nowhere to go with the basketball. They look lost. They can't run and do what they want to do. So unless Chris Finch can redesign this entire plan as a team in one game, I don't see how they win game 3.
Dagnall, greater than sign Finch.
Well, yeah, they're both really good coaches, but what they've built in Oklahoma City, the way they've done it with SGA and the picks if you look, Holmgren was the second pick in the draft that fell to them because Boncaro went number 1 that year. And remember, Holmgren was injured. But they have not had a ton of top 5 picks in putting this team together.
No, they have not. 40-38 with a timeout here. So Knicks lead by 2. This is going to be a great game. It's going to be a great series. It really is. I mean, these teams, I think the Pacers win in 5, but I do think it's like they're pretty evenly matched. I think the Pacers are just a tad better. Oilers Stars, 3:11 to play first period. Oilers lead 1-0.
If the Knicks or Pacers swept each other and Oklahoma City went 7 and was exhausted on like one day of rest and had to play that next series on that, how many games would a rested Pacers or Knicks push an exhausted Oklahoma City? 5 games?
Yeah, 5. Maybe
6
give them a
tops.
game.
Yeah.
Pacers. I think the Pacers could push Oklahoma City to 6.
Well, because when the Pacers offense gets hot and they're all cooking from the outside, that could be one way to deal with Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma City's defense is so good, I don't think those shots are going to be there.
Yeah. By the way, a similar situation that we're talking about with Oklahoma City, in Carolina and Florida. So Florida, the much better team hockey wise, and you can get like Florida minus $1.44 tomorrow at home against Carolina. That seems short.
Yeah. Look, there's 2 different classes happening right now. Carolina is very solid. They are not as good as you would expect them to be at this point in the postseason, 1 win away from the final. Florida is a team that figured it out, that got hot late in the year after dealing with a bunch of injuries, and now they look like they're playing to their full potential.
Brad Botkin joins us talking association from CBS next. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Got no points.
Back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, of course, you've got the NBA Conference Finals underway. You can catch our post-game show on SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86. Join us right after Game 2 between the Pacers and Knicks for expert analysis, instant reaction, and the biggest highlights. It's all happening tonight after Indiana versus New York on Channel 86 in your car or wherever you are on your SiriusXM app. As we do welcome you back here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Just a quick update here. I'll just go hockey first, and we'll get to first intermission. Oilers up 1-0 over the Stars. Stars lead 1-0 in the series. It's a great series. I love watching it. And then we have the Knicks right now. Pacers got off to a great start. Knicks settled in, took a lead. Pacers battled back, and 2:54 to play in the second, 44-43. The Knicks lead by 1. We have seen that scoring come down from, which was a crazy pace in Game 1 on Wednesday night. To talk all about it, he's one of our favorites talking hoops. Brad Botkin, you can read him at CBS Sports as an NBA writer, at Brad Botkin CBS on Twitter. Botkin, what's happening, man? How are you doing on this Friday?
I'm good, man. Hope you guys are good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we always love having you. Let's back up to move forward. I just want to get your reaction to what you witnessed on Wednesday as the final 2.5 minutes started to unfold there with the Pacers coming back in Game 1.
I was halfway through a really boring column on 3 surprising takeaways from Game 1. I was kind of searching for something to write about. The Knicks won the non-Brunson minutes. That was sort of surprise. All this random stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's like Aaron Nesmith made one, and then he made another. And then it's like, is this going to happen? And the way these playoffs have gone, you almost when there even starts to be even an inkling of a comeback, it's like, here we go. Usually these comebacks in the NBA are like fruitless. They make a run, they're down 15 and they get back to 6, and then they always pull back away. And now it's like every time a team starts a comeback, they're finishing it. They're actually getting over the hump. It's pretty crazy. So I went into our sports line guy, kind of our math whiz at CBS, and I said, dude, I got to get some odds on these comebacks that are happening. The Pacers have now, this was before game 1. They won 2 games trailing by at least 7 points inside the final minute. And we're getting into like asteroid hitting us tomorrow level odds. The guy was like doing Goodwill Hunting equations up on his whiteboard, and he's running all these numbers, and he's talking about extrapolating and squaring this and dividing that. And then he just like stops and he's like, dude, it's incalculable. It's incalculable. And then it happened again. And the Knicks have been on the other side of it all playoffs. The 21-0 run against Detroit, the first game of the playoffs for them, that's happened 3 times. A 21-0 fourth quarter run in a playoff game has happened 3 times in like almost 2,500 games since in the play-by-play era. So they benefit from that. The 2 consecutive 20-point comebacks in the fourth quarter never happened in NBA history. We're trying to calculate things that have no historical data to do so, and they just keep happening. So, for the Knicks, it's sort of like somehow it happened one more time for the Pacers, but for the Knicks, it just sort of seemed like one of these crazy comebacks is, sort of like live by the crazy comeback, die by the crazy comeback, and it finally bit them. But the Pacers keep getting away with it. I mean, to be down by at least 7 inside the final minute, that game is over. It's over. And they've done it 3 times in these playoffs. Wild stuff.
Yeah, Brad, what do you think of
Dustin? Did you want to tell him your stat you told me about the 0 for 1,100?
Let me see if I can find it. It's crazy. Let's see.
Essentially what the Pacers did.
I have it.
Teams had gone 0 for 1,140.
414.
414.
What, down 9 inside the final minute?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And now they're 1 for 1,444. Sorry, go ahead, Dustin.
But Brad,
but you can trace that to a number of junctures of the game. I'm pretty sure that at 2:30 they were down 14. Also, it's like 980 and 0. These are like, seriously, my data guy wrote me, because we were going over. There've been a bunch of stuff to happen in these playoffs, like the game 1s of the second round, when all 4 road teams won game 1, never happened ever. All 4 road teams, the lower seed, won game 1. Aaron Gordon hitting 2 game winners in the same playoffs under 3 seconds. Happened 5 times in NBA history. Has a player hit 2 game winners under 3 seconds in the same playoffs. There's so many things happening in these playoffs almost every night, certainly in almost every series, that have never happened before, like ever. It's just crazy. And so my guy wrote me and he's like, we're going to have to update the list. And I was like, Steven, what does this mean? And he's just like, it's the apocalypse. He wrote me back. He's like, dude, we're all dead. Like this stuff there's only one explanation for it. It's biblical.
We're in a simulation. That's what it is. It confirms the NBA playoffs confirm we are living in a simulation with the end of these games, Brad. But specific to the Pacers-Knicks game the other night, I thought it was pretty clear. One team, Indiana, had a plan for being down in that spot. And another team, the Knicks, not used to being the team with the lead and being punched at by the Pacers. What'd you think of the coaching from Carlisle and Thibodeau down the stretch?
Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know what I'm thinking that, like, one thing I do know is the Knicks could be up 80 tonight and Brunson's going all 48. Thibodeau is never going to take a player out again for as long as he lives. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's so much history with how this stuff typically plays out. Carlisle, they've been around the NBA for so long. This is such uncharted territory. Even when we always see guys like Nesmith make a bunch of threes when they're down big. It's like par for the course for the NBA. You don't make anything of it. He's going to make 2 or 3. It's going to get down to like 6 or 7. It's going to look like they're making a comeback on paper, but it's just not going to happen. They're going to foul. They're going to hit a free throw. There's going to be another shot to separate them again. And I just don't know what you would do differently. I mean, you could say they were in a deep drop most of that game, and they were dropping still and letting Neesmith put. But a couple of those threes that he hit were. It'd be very hard for me to go back and be like, man, Thibodeau should have done something different. It's just like the craziness happened. The craziness happened.
Yep, it did. Brad Botkin joining us, CBS Sports. Let's talk about what we've seen so far here, Brad. Hard at the free throw line. He does hit his second, so 52-49. Looks like it's going to be a 3-point game. Got a second and a half for the Pacers, see if they can do anything going full court. Most likely not. So a 3-point game, 52-49 at the break. Scoring is down, and the Knicks lead by 3. What have you seen?
Okay, so the Knicks starters, which obviously Thibodeau has leaned on heavily all year, they're minus in these play. Like they're not winning their minutes. It's when Campaign and Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride are coming in. Go look at the minutes right now. I'm almost certain that Mitchell Robinson's minutes are like monster plus minutes. I'd be interested to see what that number is. But he is killing Indiana. And I'm starting to wonder at what point Carlisle starts, because he's almost being so impactful right now that you almost have to treat him like a superstar. This might be crazy, but if Anthony Edwards has got the ball, you put 2 on him. I'm starting to, at what point do the Pacers put 2 on Mitchell Robinson in a box out situation? Like, it's that desperate. He's getting everything. And if he's not, they're scrambling so hard to body him that somebody else is getting it. It's the story of the game so far. And I'm just wondering to what extreme. We never hear double teams talked about through any other lens than just on ball superstars. But he might be starting to warrant double team box outs.
Yeah, Brad, by the way,
Brad's right. He's plus, you were going to say the same thing. Maybe he's plus 13, the best on both teams tonight.
And his rebound prop was set at 6.5. I know, because I bet over. He has 7 in the first half.
What a lot.
So he is such a beast. And he's making an impact there. And on the other side, a guy Patrick and I have been hyping up, and rightfully so, for weeks now. We've been all in on Halliburton for a while being a closer. Well, he's going to have to close, Brad, because to start, he only has 2 points in the first half. Just big picture Halliburton, then tonight, your overall thoughts on him.
No, Halliburton's great. I think he's actually got a really good feel for – he's an old school point guard wrapped in like a modern costume. He really has a feel for getting everybody involved, establishing pace, establishing rhythm. And really not, sort of in a Steve Nash style where he doesn't really look for his own scoring until late. That doesn't concern me. He doesn't look like in this first half he's like being stonewalled or forcing up shots or anything. He looks like he's doing your typical let the game sort itself out and assert myself later on, and sort of rightfully so, because Pascal Siakam's playing fantastic. So Siakam is all these number 2s to me are the key to all these games. I know what Brunson's going to do, generally speaking. I know what Halliburton's going to do. I know what Anthony Edwards is going to do. I know what Shea's going to do. The question is, what's Jalen Williams going to do? What's Julius Randle going to do? What's Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby going to do? And what is Siakam going to do for Indiana? Those are the guys that I'm watching in all the series, because at this point, the superstars are so good. They're going to demand double teams. It's the same blueprint with all of them, defensively speaking. So I'm not concerned with how. I wouldn't be surprised if Halliburton ends up with 23. This game is I think going to come down to a possession, at least in the final 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll see how it closes. I thought 6 points was way too big of a line. 6 points to me screams that, like, we keep thinking the Pacers are like getting away with something, and they're not. They've been one of the best teams in the league since January 1st. They're probably the best offense left in the playoffs. They're legit. So it sort of seems like too much of a recoil of like, oh, the Knicks were the better team in game one. Pacers' luck's going to run out. This is a one possession series. And I also am interested, how many rebounds does Josh Hart have? I was really interested in that line. 10 and a half.
He only has 3.
Okay, so the reason I liked the under in that was because I really felt like Mitchell Robinson was going to play a lot more. And anytime he's on the court, everyone else's rebounds go away. He just swallows them all up. So I think Josh Hart's rebounding numbers are, the more this series goes on and the more Mitchell Robinson dominates, the more minutes Thibodeau has to give him. I think Hart's he has some pretty high rebounding lines.
Well, you said about Halliburton being an old school point guard, Brett. Like, we've been talking about him. His assists, they're not, all assists aren't created equal, and he just puts his teammates in the right spot with his assists, like throwing them open and like. Yeah. I grew up with Isaiah Thomas. He kind of reminds me like that, where he just kind of feels the game out, but his assists feel like it's just like very player friendly to his teammates. He's a lot of fun to watch. He could defend a little bit more, but he's a marvel on offense.
Yeah, totally. There's like game manager point guards who just don't turn it over and make the right pass. They're like the quarterbacks that have the good defense and just like kind of don't screw up. Tyrese Halliburton is more of like a quarterback that creates leverage, that makes plays, that throws things open that wouldn't necessarily be there for other players. You're totally right about that, and that's why I say he's an old school point guard wrapped in with modern day skills, because he does look at the game from a don't mess up, get everybody involved, pace, controlling the rhythm, controlling possessions. He does play that way, but he does it with this flair that is not restrained by the sort of box that we used to put point guards in. Just get the ball to your scorer, bounce pass, take no turnovers. He plays wide open, but in an oddly conservative way. It's really a fantastic combination to have as a modern point guard. It'd be easy in today's game with the freedom to shoot and the freedom to create to get very reckless. And man, his ability to control a game while also being free and throwing no looks. And he throws real no looks, by the way. He's not the like everybody on TV saw that guy open and he looked away at the end. Like real no looks.
Yeah, and if you love Halliburton, I'm curious how you feel about this next player who is dry. I love him when he's good, but the downside is so annoying and frustrating. Karl Anthony Towns. He got hot in the second quarter, 12 points now, 4 rebounds. But Patrick and I just don't understand. He dominates in the post. He's so much more athletic. I don't mind the occasional 3, Brad, but he wants to live out there like he's a 6'5" shooting guard. What are your thoughts of Karl Anthony Towns?
Well, he's got it when he's in the 2 big lineup. That's part of it is the spacing for New York. I've wondered about, I always wonder, to be honest, because I don't have the insight on this, but I always wonder about shot charts and who's responsible for that. This came up like very early in the season, like the first couple of games. Towns took like 8 shots and they were all 3, a bunch of them were threes. He was just not a prominent part of the offense. And they asked Brunson about it, and Brunson did the I'm the point guard thing. I've got to get the guy the ball at the spots that he needs to be at. And I always wonder, and then I may have even talked about this on last time I was on the show, but I asked Avery Johnson the old coach, because he's been a point guard and a coach, and he blamed it on Thibodeau. He said he's got to design plays to get Karl Anthony Towns the ball on the box. And I don't know why, because I do agree with you. There's matchups he can exploit. He's such a good shooter. You can understand the draw of staying out behind the line, and there's certainly a major benefit to that spacing element. But there are times that I think that there's real work he can do from the box, and I just don't know if the Knicks think the spacing is more important, if Towns is a little bit passive, if Thibodeau's not drawing up enough. I don't know the answer to that. I have at times noticed what you're talking about, though.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are good, and they head tomorrow. They're freaking awesome. They head tomorrow to Minnesota. So let's set up the number and just get your take. It actually.
Let me guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oklahoma City has got to be 7.5.
Well, I know you have children, so take their college fund and bet it on Oklahoma City because they're laying 2.5.
Oh God, give me a break. Give me a break. Good gap.
I know. We said the same thing.
But hold
Ooh,
on real
ooh.
quick, Brad. Last time we had you on, you and me were texting after the show because it was a game where, remember, I said I wasn't buying Oklahoma City.
That's
And
right.
Denver won in overtime, and you sent me a text laughing.
That's
Oklahoma
right.
City's not ready for the big time. I want you to know the start of today's show, I admitted I am wrong.
Yeah,
This is
you're
an
welcome.
all-time team.
Although
They are
that
special.
one game did the thing is, I'm so confident when I talk about that. I'm like, what's Josh Hart's number? I like that. And it's like I'm like 2 for my last 11. So it's like, but yeah, Oklahoma City, we have gotten so wrapped up, and rightfully so, in this parity talk that we have forgotten that there is one team that is appreciably better than the other. Where the parity exists is in the race for second place, which basically anybody can get. That's where the parity is. Like there's like 12 teams that could end up in second place. But certainly among the teams left, but for my money, as soon as healthy Boston went out of the picture, Oklahoma City is so clearly the best team. They're gonna win the title, and they're gonna be north of that. Would put them at 84 wins. There's like 5 teams in history that have won 84 games throughout the regular season and the playoffs. They're like an all-time team. This is one of the best defenses ever with an MVP offensive player. It's like prime Aaron Rodgers is playing for the 2001 Ravens. Like you're not supposed to have both. They're so good. You think about the two spots on the floor, the holy lands of modern offense, inside the restricted area, outside the three-point line. They're the best at defending them both. Like all teams have to compromise something except the Thunder. They can squish down on the driving lanes. When Rudy Gobert is on the court, their two centers can park at the rim. They play a shell around the perimeter. You cannot get to the rim. And yet they also recover back out to the three-point line. All these shots that Minnesota's having to take are not by design. They don't want to take 51 threes like they did in game one. It's desperation. They can't get any other good look. They got into the paint a little bit more in game two, but the two-way ability of Oklahoma City, the all-time defense with the MVP offense, with the depth, with the cohesion, they're so good, and I think that has gotten a little bit lost in all the parity talk, as if this thing is just created completely equal. And it's definitely true once you get past OKC. That's where it's like the Warriors, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, the Rockets, hell, the Grizzlies, any of these teams, you could have made a case for being the second best team. That's where the parity is. But there's no question who the best team is. And it's starting to show itself more and more. I really thought that they went 7 with Denver, and I really thought that was kind of the catapult. I remember when the Warriors in 2015, who were very similar, all-time defense, but everybody thought they were a little too young. They fast forward. They couldn't see it happening yet. MVP burst out of nowhere with Steph Curry. A lot of similarities. And they went down 2-1 to Memphis in the second round. Everybody was like, see, I knew it. They're not ready. And I think people were saying the same thing, that it took them 7 games to get rid of Denver. But once Golden State got past that series, it was over. And I think this is over now. Once they got through Denver, Oklahoma City is going to win the title. So the Knicks and the Pacers currently, as we speak, are playing for second.
If there a lot of on Mad Dog Sports Radio, if you were to talk the NBA during the regular season, a lot of it is about the issues with the NBA tanking. It's not the same. If you have somebody in your life like that and they want to rediscover the joy of watching basketball, have them watch Oklahoma City. The help defense, just the constant. I mean, it's just they're relentless, so well coached.
Yeah,
their best player defends. Like, there's a lot to like.
Well, yeah, they are, and also this sort of like intangible element of they love playing together. Again, it also reminds me of that first Warriors team, where the connection between the players, that the whole like cliche of like enjoy each other's success and be everybody's cheerleader and get the benches up cheering, and all these things that we talk, when it becomes an actual palpable thing, it's like damn near as powerful as like the actual talent. And the guys love playing with each other. It's palpable. And so if you want to show somebody what great basketball looks like, it's a lot of defense, it's a lot of extra effort, but it's also just a lot of enjoying in each other's success and not playing for the credit. And that goes a long, long way when you're talking about a team that is supremely talented, where really the only way you can screw up that kind of talent is to not be together. And so that's a big thing. But all these teams, like if you have somebody in your life that, oh, the NBA sucks, like they don't play defense anymore. Oh yeah, like this thing's come watch these playoffs. It's a mall fest. Like, oh, go watch Indiana play offense. I think all of these teams that are Anthony Edwards, a young superstar. I think every team we have going right now is a really good like illustration of the good spot that the NBA is in, to me.
Yeah, and Brad, I've come so far the other way with Oklahoma City. I find myself defending SGA. I couldn't believe he was getting criticism for getting to the free throw line when he's not even doing it at some historic, absurd rate. He's literally just playing basketball, and anyone else on the floor can do it as well if they want to get free throws. What did you think of people just crushing him and the style of play as he wins the MVP award?
He's a victim of other people doing what they say he does. So there's a very, very big difference between drawing a lot of fouls and faking a lot of fouls. And everybody hates the phantom ones. Like, the clip that was going around the other day of Jalen Brunson in game 1, hooking Neesmith's arm. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
And actually hit himself in the face.
Yeah.
Took Neesmith's arm, did the whip back with the head. I don't see SGA doing a lot of where you slow it down and it's like he literally didn't get touched. There's some plays that he didn't get touched and the ref just made a bad call. But I don't see a lot of the phantom flopping. Most of his contact is because he created leverage. And that's how fouls are supposed to be. You put the defender in a position where the only way they even had a chance to stay halfway in front of you is to grab you or to bump you. And you earned the foul. That's why I hate when coaches get to the podium after the game and they just look at the number of free throws for each side and use that as a barometer of whether there was fair officiating. Like, oh, they shot 50 free throws tonight. We only shot 23. We got screwed. Well, you only shot 23 because you couldn't beat anybody off the dribble. So that's usually how it goes. It's just that, to me, the thing we need to talk about, if we're sick of the sell jobs, is the refs. They are incapable of not blowing the whistle if somebody falls. If somebody falls, the whistle's getting blown. So the players are going to fall. That's if SGA could just go and take that contact and stay on his feet, no one would care. But he almost has to go to the ground because if he doesn't go down, the refs don't blow the whistle. To me, that's the problem. They're actually we're all about this physical play, and they're going to let everything go until a guy hits the ground. Then it's like, and most of the guys that are hitting the ground are the ones getting hit the least. So to me, the problem is, and I know it's a harder job than I'm making it out to be, but the players are the best in the world. The refs they have to be better at just not falling for every fall, so to speak.
That's well put. All right, Brad, we'll let you go watch the second half. We're all laying the 2.5 with OKC tomorrow because hammer it. Brad Botkin, CBS Sports. Love reading them. Read them for years. Go check them out at CBS Sports at Brad Botkin CBS on Twitter. Thanks, Brad. Enjoy your weekend as well.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, brother. Thank you. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
On Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Zesty Anthony Towns. He just fell, and Dustin was like, well, we can't play the clip now. He's hurt. He had the softest, most gentle fall of all time, and he stayed down for an hour and a half.
I was just saying,
Towns.
If he was severely injured, it would have been in poor taste.
I can assure you, the way he fell, he is not severely injured, but we are tied 57-57. Halliburton with a dunk, which is rare, as the Knicks coming back the other way. It should be a tight game the rest of the way. Looking forward to this one as we finish you out. VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson. I'm Patrick Meagher. Isaiah Ramirez back in New York City. Ryan Smith doing a great job in Las Vegas. YouTube.com/VSiN Live. Jump in, give us a follow. We appreciate all the subs. A big weekend for sports betting. And VSiN Live, Halliburton just hit a 3, and he's starting to flex a little bit. That's 5 unanswered from Halliburton, 60-57 as the Pacers lead. We were talking, that should tell you. And again, Botkin makes his living off of talking. We just had Brad Botkin from CBS Sports on, and he makes his living off of talking about and writing about the NBA. He guessed the spread tomorrow, game 3 in Minnesota. He guessed it Oklahoma City laying 7. It's 2.5. So what are you looking for there? You're looking for a chasm? Like, here's what I think it should be. Wait, here's what the market is, and then you bet hard, and you bet heavy. And it's one man's opinion, but I do think it should be closer to 5.
Yeah, I don't see how you watch either of these games in that series and you believe that the Oklahoma City on their worst day is only 3 points better than Minnesota. The market is just saying this is a spot, a team down 0-2 coming back home. This is the game they're supposed to win. But Minnesota's not in the same class as the Thunder. The Thunder are on such a different level. The way that they've toyed with them and just taken off in the second half in both games, that tells you everything you need to know. They're just sitting there waiting for the Timberwolves' best shot. They make an adjustment, and then they just take over the game, and it's over. That's all that's been happening.
So we were trying to figure out the Dustin, when he brings up Karl Anthony Towns, he constantly is talking about this accent thing. I don't know anything about the accent thing. And to be fair to Dustin, I'm not on social, so I don't see what he's saying. So I think we have an example of it.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 polarizing players in this series. One is Karl Anthony Towns, and the other is Tyrese Halliburton, who was voted on as the biggest, most overrated player by his peers. And I'm like, we've taken calls on Tyrese Halliburton. People are like, I can't stand that guy. So I'm like, what is the reason? Well, I think we found out. People don't like when you cross Mary. He's married to a white girl.
Oh.
And then also he gets super zesty with dance videos on TikTok with his wife. And I think people get bitter about that. Other than that, he's a tremendous basketball player, super fun to watch, a traditional point guard, clutch player. So no reason to dislike him. But let's start with Karl Anthony Towns. And what am I going to hear here? This better pay off here, big guy.
Yeah, this is a montage someone put together of all the different voices that make up Karl Anthony Towns. I just want to point out everything you just said allows me to deduce Ryan Clark, not a fan of Tyrese Halliburton. Here is the clip of Karl Anthony Towns that you'll hear, the many sides that make up Big Purr.
Because after all that, they took him off the court to put him even closer to the locker.
Better basketball conference than SEC or the Big East. SEC.
Football.
Yeah.
Oh, are you serious? That's what movies is made of.
This is what movies.
This is what movies is made of. 4 months away, I come back 2 free throws. Don't worry about it. I got that.
Bro, you funny as hell.
Did you know I was gonna do it?
Bro, they asked me in media about you.
What?
They really did.
What the?
Because outside looking in, like, we was like, damn, it's total chaos in Minnesota right now. Like,
no, for sure.
It was like Jimmy versus Minnesota. Like,
I said, let me take this charge real quick. That was probably the worst thing I ever could have done. That man fell right over me. You know, you ever see that? Just like a train.
All right. I have.
I was like, why did I do that?
It goes back and forth.
I've made my decision. He's just having fun. He's doing shtick.
I don't know. And look, I'm someone who does. I'm 40 years old. I still don't know who I am day to day. There's nothing wrong with it. It happens. I just think it's funny, and I see a lot of these clips in my feed over and over where one day he's like, "Yeah, what's up? We played really good today. We went straight to the hole." And the other day he's like, "What's up?"
Wait,
I
you
just
don't
think it's fun.
you think his brain, he doesn't know that he's doing it?
Oh no, I think he's making an effort to do one of those voices.
That's what I mean. I think he's like kind of clowning.
No.
You think, wait, hold on. You think he wakes up and it just becomes he's not the same person?
No, I think conversation to conversation, sentence to sentence, in the middle of said conversations, it's constantly going different directions.
I think he just likes to do accents. Like, I think he likes to be like, his most prominent accent is super zesty.
Yes. But you would acknowledge there were multiple times where it went back and forth where it was like, is this even the same person speaking?
No, of course I'm acknowledging it. I'm saying I think he's doing it on purpose. Like, he's like, oh, let me clown around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he's trying to do the tough guy thing, to be the hard guy, and like that's just not who he is, and that's fine. I'm not either.
Out of that, I heard the zestiest human that's ever walked.
No. The other voice, the opposite one that he tries to do, that's him trying to show that he's tougher than that main voice, which is his normal voice.
Oh, that's his normal. The zesty one's his normal.
Yes, I think it's fine, dude. It's be you.
That's Carl. Well, we're calling him Zesty Anthony Towns. But he's having a good game tonight, if we're being fair.
He started to take over a little bit. I'm impressed because in the first quarter he did nothing.
Yeah, he was scoreless through the first. He didn't get his first bucket till like 9 to go in the second, and my app just completely froze on me. So let me open Carl Anthony Towns stat line right now.
17 points, 2 rebounds, 5. I'm sorry, that was Brunson. 15.6 rebounds for Karl Anthony Towns. 7 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah, useful. Brunson having a nice one, 17 points and 5 assists. On the other side, Siakam has 28. So I believe Siakam had 23 at the break. Siakam's having the greatest game of his postseason career. He's got 28 with 7 minutes to go in the third. He could be obviously looking at a 40 burger here.
And he's at the free throw line right now, about to hit the 30 mark if he makes these. So, yeah, Siakam's been a problem. But outside of him, Naismith's been quiet. He had 30 last game. Halliburton had 30. He's got 7 right now. Nembhard's got double digits. The depth isn't quite showing itself for Indiana, but it doesn't matter. Siakam's been such a problem for New York. They're up by 5.
He did miss the free throw, so it's 64-59, 6:55 to play in the second. The Pacers lead the Knicks. We went money line. You got plus 210 on the Pacers. Let's get an update in-game number to see what they've adjusted. The Pacers are going to be favored, probably a 1.5 favorite would be my guess.
You got the spread right, but the Knicks are still favored.
Okay. Knicks 1.5, down 5. Halliburton ball. Siakam kicks it to the corner. Nembhard misses the 3. That was a big miss because there was momentum going their way. That was a beautiful transition look for 3. But Siakam's so hot right now. He needed to take that to the bucket.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I understand corner 3s, highest percentage, but sometimes just get the 2. You're on fire.
Yeah, I think when you got a player that hot, you don't run your offense. You give him the ball and you get out of the way until he cools off.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we can do a smash or pass here. We've got time. 888 Mad Dog 6 if you want to get in on these series. 888-623-3646. But we haven't done smash or pass in a while. Let's get to it.
Okay, first one up here. And now the NBA made the teams make some adjustments with their uniform garb for this round of the playoffs. Said they had to go to their traditionals. But I think we're at a point where the NBA teams have way too many different jerseys and color schemes where if you just turned it on, you don't know who's playing. Do you smash or pass? Too many options for jerseys.
Oh, I know. I like all the options. It doesn't bother me. I understand it bothers traditionalists. I didn't know that the NBA had an edict in the conference finals that they had to go back to. I think that's not a terrible idea. Like right now, the Knicks in all white, The all yellow for the Pacers, it takes you back to your childhood. It looks good. It looks clean.
Yeah, it's just sometimes they'll wear colors that aren't theirs. You're like, I think the point is these moments should be captured, and they'll probably be replayed a lot. You want to know who the two teams are that are playing in the spot. So that's one there.
Yeah. No, but like regular season, yeah, you can mess around with the jerseys as much as you want. Halliburton with the step back three is money.
He's dangerous. When he starts playing selfish, when he starts getting selfish, everything's different for Indiana. If he ever wanted to, he could be a stat demon, putting up monster point numbers, but he chooses not to be.
Here's Cat from way downtown. He's money. Karl Anthony Towns just hit a huge three to pull the Knicks within 2. Karl Anthony Towns is on one. Accent or not, he's playing well tonight. Again, he was scoreless in the first, and I think he's got like 18 now. So here we go. 4:27 to play in the third. Halliburton's going to pull up here on Mitchell Robinson. Watch. Oh, yep. Step back. Is he going to shoot?
Oh, he got the foul.
He did get the foul. They called it late. All right. Halliburton's cooking. He got the matchup against Mitchell Robinson and decided to take. Or was it Cat?
Cat.
Oh, Cat is the one that came over and followed him. Maybe it was him guarding him the whole time. Okay.
It was Cat the whole time.
Yeah, you're right. I thought it was Mitchell Robinson for a second. Must have been using a different accent. He was using Mitchell's accent. I got confused. Halliburton.
Oh, God.
First, so 70-67. So anyway, next up, smash or pass.
Okay. I used the title one. I was saving that for this, but I wasted it in the first segment. I don't know, maybe you have more thoughts on it. Winning the first title for a city is more impressive than winning one that has been there before. Example would be SGA in Oklahoma City or LeBron versus LeBron in Los Angeles.
If LeBron won in the pandemic, he won a title for. That was a little bit weird. If LeBron, let's say, were to win a title for the Lakers, are you saying does it feel different?
I'm saying that SGA's one title in Oklahoma City has more value, historical perspective wise, than winning whatever number title it would be for the Lakers.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, weird proposal, but I do think. Oh, your boy Brunson with a big three to tie it up at 70. I do think the SGA element's even more fascinating just because there was such a concerted run with KD and Westbrook, and they couldn't get it done. So if SGA, it's his team, and if he were to do it, it's like we talked about earlier. Kevin Durant is going to retire as the better player than SGA, but SGA won a championship where Kevin Durant couldn't in that same city. I think that's the angle I'm looking at there.
Yeah, your boy Kendrick Perkins came out today and said SGA is the greatest Thunder player of all time. Smash or pass?
Is his whole broadcast thing like trolling though? Like, is he being serious or is he just constantly trolling?
I think 50-50. I think there's a balance where sometimes he's real and sometimes he's just trolling. Like the other day, he went on a radio show or it was a podcast, and this is where Kevin Durant was funny. And he was like, Oklahoma City didn't win or someone didn't win a title till I locked up Dirk, and he listed all these players. And Kevin Durant replied to the video, the real MVP, Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah. He is, he's something. He is something. You got one more?
Grover Cleveland was an underrated U.S. president.
Grover Cleveland. So Grover Cleveland's very interesting because Grover Cleveland up in Buffalo was, I believe, literally just a mayor and then got caught up in reform. And so essentially what I'm saying is like everything was corrupt in the late 1800s. Everybody was taking payola. And Grover Cleveland was essentially just like, look, we got to get rid of all this corruption. I'm just going to clean it up. America ate it up. They're like, dude, Grover rules. Now, the problem with Grover, and he was a pretty good president, he was very conservative. The problem with Grover is you could do a quick Google search or AI search and ask about his illegitimate.
Oh, no.
Because there might have been hush money around the illegitimate. Yeah, there's some shady circumstances. Also, Grover Cleveland married his former law partner's daughter after his law partner passed away, and Grover Cleveland, the first president to get married in the White House while he was president.
Okay, but to be fair, the things you're listing as potential knocks against him have actually nothing to do with whether he was a good or bad president.
Was he
bad
a good
person.
president?
Bad person.
He was. You know what he was? He was a good president, a president needed at the right time.
Okay.
There was so much corruption that he came in, cleaned up the corruption, didn't take S from anybody, and also Grover Cleveland had out on a boat, had cancer in his top of his mouth. And before a lot of, publications where they talk about drama, but he didn't want it out there. You can't have the president with cancer and known that, this could be catastrophic. So a doctor took him on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and they tore out part of it, the upper part of his mouth, and replaced it. And then he came back and just went back to being the president.
Is that why he grew the mustache, or he always had the mustache? That's the question.
He had the stash, but he had reconstruction of the top of his mouth and went back to being president, and nobody ever knew that it happened. That couldn't happen today.
I think that's the correct move. Shows weakness. People know you have issues.
But he did clean up the spoils system as much as he could.
Oh, he started off as the sheriff of Erie County and eventually became president.
It was the sheriff, and then he was the mayor. Then he was the mayor of Buffalo.
He was, and then governor of New York.
Governor of New York, and then president. It's an unprecedented run. Like, you don't go from sheriff to mayor to governor to president. That's just not normal.
Like, literally, like in the Wild Wild West days too. I know he's in New York, but you think about sheriffs, it's the same kind of time period.
But also that lends itself to cleaning up the spoil system. He was a sheriff. He was a cop. He did things the right way, except maybe not with illegitimate children.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I like that. Yeah, you asked me about a president. I enjoy it. Jalen with a turnaround to tie it up at 72-72. 3 minutes to go. We'll come back, update you on this in-game number, and close tabs. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. time to wrap up today's show. You see what I did there? Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Remember, for the weekend, go become a VSiN Pro. Get all the picks for $19. VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS, and you're going to be good to go. Big guy, we've got 79-78 with the Pacers shooting free throws. So the Knicks up 1. Let's get an updated in-game number.
Yeah, right now it is the Knicks still laying 2.5. Your in-game total 219 and a hook. If you want to go money line on the Pacers, plus 140, while you have to lay 180 with the New York Knicks.
All right, there you have it. It's time for Closing Tabs before we get out of here for the Memorial Day weekend. Again, hope you have some time off. Enjoy it with the family, with the crew. Good sports on this weekend as well. What's up first here?
Okay, closing tabs. So we have a lot to catch up on from the whole week. A lot of things that were said on the show. One, just wanted to get your thoughts. I feel like you're going to hate on this, but it was and we're supposed, I think based on Twitter, we're supposed to have an opinion on this. Today was the final episode of ESPN's Around the Horn, where they have reporters all over the country weighing in on topics, and it was revolutionary, but ESPN is no longer going to air it. Any thoughts on the program ending?
No, not even a single thought.
I thought.
Legitimately irrelevant.
That's what I thought you were going to say. That's why I asked the question.
I mean, no offense to anybody. They have treated it. They are treating it like the Queen of England has passed and the flags are at half mast. I mean, the ravioli guy seems like super dramatic. Like it doesn't, it's 20 years, whatever. Like, no, it never mattered. I'm not even trying to be a jerk. Like, why are you laughing? I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Because you went from I have no opinion to this.
No, literally no opinion, because nobody's ever said, hey, did you see what happened on whatever the show is called?
Around the Horn.
It's Around the Horn. It's just never mattered.
Okay, moving on.
What it is, you know what it is? Filler.
Yes.
The weird time of the day. They needed something to bridge a very popular show with Kornheiser and Wilbon to SportsCenter, and they put on donks.
And now they did the Mariano Rivera goodbye tour, where every city they go to, they get a gift. And they,
if you're making it a big deal, I listen. I say it a lot, but read a book.
Any suggestions?
You have an opinion?
No, I was surprised at how everyone wanted to have a moment where they're like, this is why this show mattered to me. I think I watched the show in like 2004, 2005 maybe, but it's been a minute. Credit for a good run, but the reason I asked you the question is I was surprised how many people felt the need to get their thoughts out about the end of Around the Horn.
That is literally just people wanting to say, hey, something's happening. Oh, if I give an opinion, maybe I need to say something about it. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Nobody's ever sat there without a screen and just been like for a half hour sat and watched.
Locked in.
Yeah, like, oh, I wonder what a random person for Denver sports writer has to say.
Hey guys, no spoilers. I DVR'd Around the Horn. Don't tell me who won today.
Yeah. And like it didn't. Yeah, it just like scorings, like, oh, that was a good point. You get a point. Like, no.
It was random. It was just, if you said something good. Yeah.
End of the third, 81-81. That's an interesting question, though. You weren't impacted by it either, right? I'm not.
No, but I sit here sometimes and I wonder, like, if I'm off as a human. I think I am off in certain ways, but I wonder why I don't care about things that other people care about. But you're just proving that maybe either we're the weirdest people on the planet or we're the most normal people on the planet. It's one or the other.
I mean, maybe I'm being unfair. I don't know. It's just, to me, completely irrelevant.
Okay, bigger issues at hand. Our guy Biscuit called in earlier, thanked us for defending him from someone calling him muffin. I think we all can agree a biscuit, a muffin, all better than a scone. But if you had the choice, a biscuit or a muffin, Patrick?
A biscuit or a muffin? Oh, biscuit. It's whatever's drier and less sugary.
Yeah, so you'd go biscuit in that spot. And I love a biscuit like in the South. But one thing, and I don't know why the rest of the country can't do it, the New York, New Jersey area does corn muffins, and those are the most perfect thing in the world.
Just butter on a biscuit.
Yesterday on
way,
the show.
Yeah.
Go.
But Biscuit, we did laugh when he said muffin. So
No,
I do
we
feel
did.
bad. It's like I kind of defend you, but the most part I thought it was hilarious. But I love you, Biscuit.
Yeah. Yesterday you said something that cracked me up. You said save the last S for savings. Do you remember what commercial that's from?
No.
Dial a mattress. 1-800-mattress. Leave off the last S for savings.
Happy Memorial Day. Isaiah, thank you. Ryan, thank you. Big guy, thank you. Get on TikTok. We're all looking forward to it. We'll see you on Monday, Memorial Day, right here at VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This
Covering
is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.